LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KESGamblingHelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia.
Time for an NCAA tournament schedule update. The road to the men's Final Four now heads to the home stretch. The teams are set and a championship trophy awaits the school that can win just 2 more games. From Houston, Saturday's national semifinals is up next, and all 4 teams are looking to hang around for a shot at the title. To make sure you don't miss any of the excitement, listen to Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA Final Four right here.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We've been in Jacksonville now for 15 years, and as you know and I know, we have to be ready for those hot, hot days. And this time of year, the cooler temperatures, too. Need that AC working and then be ready to turn on the heat for a day or two. Bold City Heating and Air has us ready. They have for years. Can't say enough about their customer service. The communication, they are prompt, they are clean, they are good. Bold City Heating and Air. And right now, take advantage of their 0% financing on all purchases and just $97 for a tune-up. Be ready for the chilly weather and the heat. Bold City Heating and Air. BoldCityAC.com.
If you're a new parent, your baby means the world to you. But sadly, an average of 17 Northeast Florida families lose their babies to sleep-related deaths each year. Please make sure your baby always sleeps alone and on their back in a separate and safe sleep environment, like a crib, pack and play, or bassinet. Also, keep their sleep space free of covers, pillows, toys, and bumper pads. Learn more at wolfsandchildrens.com/safe sleep. That's wolfsandchildrens.com/safe sleep.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate allows you to skip the hassle and get your home sold fast and stress-free. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry, so you can sell your home stress-free, make the most money, and move when you're ready. One of our clients, Danielle, said, "I can't say enough good things about Mark Spain Real Estate. Their guaranteed offer made selling my home so easy. I highly recommend them to anyone interested in selling their home. Don't worry about the hassle of constant cleaning and making costly repairs. There are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. I've been in business for nearly 30 years and have served over 50,000 satisfied clients. And I know what matters most, a quick sale and maximum profit. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. Sell your home fast with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Certain restrictions apply. Attention Dish customers. Dish Network dropped WFOX Fox 30, depriving you of your favorite programs, local news, weather, and sports. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and tell them to put WFOX Fox 30 back on the air. Don't let Dish keep you from the important news, sports, and entertainment programming you love. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and then switch to another TV provider.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter. I'm Christine Lisi. Quarterback Lamar Jackson's ready to take flight from the Ravens for good. In a series of tweets today, Jackson said he requested a trade from Baltimore on March 2nd. The Ravens placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on him March 7th. Jackson's free to sign an offer sheet with another team. Baltimore can match it or receive 2 first-round picks as compensation. The Ravens need to resolve this matter soon, advises ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
You can have certain players on your team that want to be traded and can still be in your locker room and play and perform a role. I don't believe that can be anyone playing the quarterback position, because the quarterback is it's involved in too much within the organization, the team, especially the offense. Everyone looks to him.
Mavericks point guard Luka Doncic had his 16th technical foul of the season rescinded by the NBA league office. That means he is eligible to play against the Pacers tonight. 76ers big man Joel Embiid with right calf tightness will not play tonight against Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets, reports ESPN's Ramona Shelburne and Adrian Wojnarowski.
A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Hey, happy Monday here in Jacksonville and well beyond. Hope everybody's doing well, having a nice weekend. And don't tell me you've got the bracket, because you don't. Not in the Final Four in men's basketball. Nobody does. I don't want to hear about it. Nobody could even guess that. You have a better chance of winning the Powerball, probably, it feels like. Even though that's not true, it feels like you would have a better chance of winning the Powerball.
I think it is true. I think it's actually the perfect bracket. You have a better chance at winning Powerball 2 nights in a row.
Is that what they say?
Than getting the perfect bracket, yeah.
I wonder what the odds were on this Final Four to be able to get. And so does that make it the best March Madness ever or one of the worst? Because we have no 1, no 2, no 3 seed. So does that make for a bad product, a good tournament, a bad tournament? How do we see it? Think about that, because we'll have that discussion point. And is parity the goal in college sports and all sports? I think that's what this brings up this month of March and really in this college basketball season. And we've talked about it before. There are some things in play right now in college athletics that we all kind of cringe at, really. Yet we might be getting the best product, and not just this sport, in other sports too, because of it. We'll talk a little bit about that along the way. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. Hope the weekend was good, fellas. And now we do have 4 teams left in basketball. We have Lamar Jackson asking for a trade at the beginning of March and still is a Baltimore Raven. I guess this is now a soap opera that's going to play out in a very Aaron Rodgers-esque kind of way. Do you think the NFL asks for this stuff to come out? I mean, do you think Lamar Jackson planted that just at the time John Harbaugh was getting set to speak at the breakfast at the NFL owners' meetings with reporters, which is always a fun time. It's a little roundtable discussion with every coach in the AFC and then every coach in the NFC. And right when he's about to talk, the news of Lamar Jackson comes out, and he's the one that shares it, that he asked for a request back on March 2nd. He planted that at the perfect time. Why would he do that?
Is that a real question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he wants movement. And this is the perfect week to get the movement. You got all the owners and GMs all hanging with each other, head coaches.
But do you get the sense he tried to hang Harbaugh?
Oh, totally.
Out to dry?
Yeah, this isn't like you're not the only one with this idea. This is like a well-thought thing that since it's came out. Yes, it was absolutely planned. Lamar just didn't wake up and is like, you know what, this feels right, send. No, he's had it typed up. He copy and pasted, and he hit send as soon as Harbaugh was talking because he wanted to put him in a weird spot.
Yeah.
They've put him in a weird spot for 2 years.
2 years.
So, yeah, I'm going to put you in an uncomfortable spot, and I hope it sucks. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, it sounds like a young guy way of thinking, selfish way of thinking. Yeah, me way of thinking.
It's been 25
days.
Trade him.
It's been 2 years.
How much does it have to do with Harbaugh, though, the trade or not the trade, or is it the front office? That's what I'm. Sounds like his hostility is with with Harbaugh instead of the front office, meaning the GM, who really, ultimately will be the guy that pulls the trigger on that.
I do think it's one and the same when it comes to the Ravens.
Probably Harbaugh has some say around.
He's been
there
there for a long time. That whole organization works well, top to bottom, together in lockstep. So I think Lamar's looking at it going, Harbaugh and the front office are the same thing to me.
Yeah, I don't really fully get the play, though. Like, I don't understand why,
on Lamar's behalf.
Yeah, because why antagonize even more?
Well, I think he feels like they're basically telling all the teams, whatever you offer him, we're going to match. And so I think Lamar thought at that point he had to ask for a trade.
Yeah. Well, he asked for the trade a long time ago, and obviously he wants something to move. He's asked for a new contract a long time ago. To that point, I get all that stuff. I get the hostility that's been built up and the not getting my way about it kind of stuff that's been built up. But I just think this is a weird, because to be honest with you, they don't have to trade him. So if you make them mad, you've got the power. We wondered this back in the Jalen Ramsey stuff, because really the power was with the Jags organization, whether they actually wanted to make a move or not. And they were holding out until they got what they wanted. That's what happened. The Jags weren't making a move. They got several offers for, I don't know how long that was, a couple weeks. And they weren't making a move until they got what they really wanted, which really they got good compensation for. If you were going to have to part ways with a guy like Jalen Ramsey, you got 2 firsts and a 4th-round pick. And so, the Jags, in this case, the Ravens, they still have the power. They're the one that's going to make the deal. Lamar Jackson ain't making the deal.
There's one giant difference between the Ramsey situation and this situation, in that you're talking about the quarterback, a young franchise quarterback, as opposed to a young all-pro cornerback. And without the quarterback, the Ravens are essentially a 3 to 6 win team at best. But without a young all-pro cornerback, you could still probably be a winning franchise. Not that the Jags
no doubt. Yeah, certain value to the position. But also might be more reason why they see that too and will want to keep it and hold him hostage, if you will.
I just think that you're looking at Lamar going weeks ago, just a few, even though he had asked Baltimore privately for a trade and not said anything to the press. Publicly, he was tweeting about wanting to be back in Baltimore. He made that tweet in the month of March about how he just wants to play. And he wants to be valued the way he should be valued. You saw his teammates coming out saying, they should pay him what he wants to be paid. The reality is he doesn't want to be there. You've insulted this guy, and it's time to move on.
So did he make the right move today?
Yes. I thought it was long overdue. Should have made this move weeks ago, if not longer.
I actually think, that's 2 different thoughts. Should he have made this move weeks ago? I agree with you.
Right, so
do you think you make the move today? Why wouldn't you make the move? Everybody's got their quarterback now except for Indianapolis.
No, Washington could be up after him. Detroit could be after him. Those are the 3 that are rumored to be on him. But the Jets are waiting on Aaron Rodgers. Why not the Jets?
Okay, but 3 weeks ago, you had a bunch of teams, the Raiders, everybody else, that had they were in the quarterbacks. That's why I don't get the timing of it.
Maybe he thought that, the organization that has put bad training staff around him and bad teams around him that would maybe do the right thing once in their lives when he requested the trade 3 weeks ago.
Maybe.
And said, okay, they'll figure it out. I don't need to go public with this. And then when they didn't do it, and he said, y'all scumbags, I'll put it out there. While you're taking questions from the media, and I hope they just rip you up.
Maybe it was the fact that all of those franchises said they were out on Lamar.
Oh, that's true. They could have. Maybe they tried a bunch of this. We wondered way back, right?
Yep.
When everybody started saying, we're not interested, publicly, all right, what's going on here? And so maybe could this be less of a play at Harbaugh and the Ravens and more at the owners in general because of the owner meetings, right? So this going back to the guaranteed contract stuff, the collusion thought, all right, we won't put it out there that allege them of it, but that the idea of are people colluding here to say, hey, we're not going to give another guaranteed contract to a quarterback. That's not the road we're going down. And so is that why he chose the owners' meetings to kind of do this and couple it with the, I got you a little bit, go answer these questions now? Because to be honest with you, I don't really know what that did that much. If John Harbaugh was uncomfortable, so what? He's a veteran of it. I'm sure he handled it fine for a half hour. But that's not going to necessarily make a move. It's just going to antagonize is my point. So maybe this was more after the NFL and the owners and the Shield and everything else for what he thinks may have transpired the last few weeks.
Maybe.
Of why am I not on another team? And guaranteed money or no guaranteed money, why are people vocally coming out and saying they're not interested in a former league MVP, you know?
And I struggle with your line of thinking that it didn't help him or that it's a young guy thing, only because he has very few tools left to use in his tool belt. The fans are pretty much it, right? Like, he doesn't have an agent he can lean on. He's got a lawyer who the NFL has told all the teams, don't talk to this guy. He's got a business partner who the NFL has told to all these teams, don't talk to that guy. There are all kinds of accusations floating around. So here's Lamar going, what is there left to do? Don't you think this made more headlines the way he did it today versus maybe coming out at the beginning of March saying, oh, by the way, I've also asked for a trade?
Listen, I think he's going to make headlines no matter what, right? We're going to talk about it. Everybody's going to talk about it. What he needs and wants is action. So it's different from getting headlines to getting action. Do headlines turn into action? Maybe they do. We'll see. I don't know. And by the way, you saying that what other move does he have, then he's obviously made some bad decisions along, well, not obvious, but maybe has made some bad decisions along the way. Maybe he should have an agent. Maybe an agent would have helped him get this thing done by now, because then you don't have to be the guy vocally saying this stuff. Somebody's doing it on your behalf. Like the thing about Jalen and Deshaun Watson, they had Mulligetta to do that for him. And guess what? That guy made it happen.
Okay, but I think there's a difference between maybe you should, because maybe he should have, and the words you have to.
Oh, yeah, no, he doesn't have to. But what you just said is,
well, the league says he has to.
What is he left to do, right? Like, what are his
what
options?
Are the tools left? Yeah, sitting out is basically it. But like, why does the league get to say who his agent is? I don't like that at all.
Yeah, this whole that other agent thing was bizarre.
Yeah.
Right? It's his business
and
partner.
Still is, yeah.
And the whole thing is he's coming out with some workout deal and that kind of thing. I don't know why they said that and why they're not going to
I'm sure they have a bunch of reasons for it, but I think the bottom line
he's
just
not
comes
like
down
a registered agent, I guess.
Right. The NFLPA
right.
registers these guys to speak to these teams.
Yeah.
To me, it's all about power and power brokering, right? The NFLPA wants their hand in it, so they got to approve this, and they got the NFL to agree to it so that the players can't go rogue on it, and then as soon as someone does, he's getting screwed out of his deal. I hate the whole setup.
Yeah, it's a tough deal. What's interesting about it right now with Lamar Jackson, I think, is if you had picked up all the quarterbacks that might have issues, just take the last year, right, with a team, the way we view the Baltimore Ravens organization is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, we view them as a pretty classy organization, pretty well-run organization. They don't have a lot of these problems, at least that we know of. And I understand that it came out about like that NFLPA thing about, what was it, the trainer or nutritionist or staff, right? Strength staff.
Yeah.
So maybe there's more there. We just maybe had the wrong perception about the Baltimore Ravens organization. But you would line up a bunch of teams before you got to Baltimore where we thought Lamar Jackson and this organization would have issues before everybody else. Now, listen, Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay have had their own issues. There's been other teams, Derek Carr and the Raiders, they've had their issues. But this one surprises me that it's come to this kind of soap opera with the Baltimore Ravens here in the last year. And I don't know how it ends. I mean, I really think this is Indianapolis because the Jets have said they're waiting on Aaron. Not you, Rodgers.
I understand.
I mean, they said it again. Robert Saleh said it again today. Basically, it's like public knowledge that they're getting Aaron Rodgers, just a matter of time when.
But if you're the Jets, you're not waiting until the start of training camp. So, like, what is the drop dead date?
I don't know what that is, but my guess, the way this all sounds, is like a handshake agreement. So I guess something could fall through, but I mean, they are just.
The reports are basically that the Packers want the 13th pick. So if it doesn't get done by the draft, what does that do to the deal? You don't know.
Yeah.
What the Packers don't want is a first rounder from next year with Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. But I don't understand how you get past that.
Yeah, someone's going to have to give in,
Yeah.
and I really think it's going to be the Packers that give in.
I mean, it should be. They really don't have another option other than eating the money out of spite, which makes no sense whatsoever. But that being said, if that's what's going to happen, Brent, then that's a deal that happens in June.
Yeah.
And then by that time, there is no plan B for the Jets. So, like, it's malfeasance almost by their owner to not look at Lamar right now.
Yeah, I would say so, too, because actually they have leverage by being able to look at Lamar.
Yeah.
Like, I would be more willing
helps.
to trade that first-round pick this year for Lamar than for Aaron Rodgers.
Of course.
But everything shakes out now. We're in March 26th? 7? Well, everything shakes out in a month now. Because Indianapolis is going to decide on a quarterback between now and the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, that pick's going to get used one way or another.
And then Baltimore becomes a big player here because they have to figure out what's going on with their spot, or they're going with Tyler Huntley again. A great tweet by CBS. Both said Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley won Pro Bowl each.
Mm-hmm. It's a real investigative piece there, yeah.
It's going to be fascinating to watch now, but I just think it's kind of late. I think this should have been done earlier. Maybe it's not late, though, because now you've got a month. You basically have a month to figure it out for 4 teams: the Packers, the Jets, the Ravens, and the Colts. So am I missing anybody? Does anybody else have to figure out the quarterback spot?
Commanders.
Yeah, the Commanders have to figure out their ownership spot.
Sure, but, they're starting Sam Howell going into next year. They got to figure something out there.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett is on the roster.
If you're Carolina, do you look into this?
No. You've already traded up for number 1. What's the point? You're going to have to get rid of the number 1 pick you just shipped off a ton for? The value almost isn't there for them.
If you're Houston, do you look at this?
I think you should.
Nope.
What? Bryce Young over Lamar Jackson?
Cheaper quarterback for 4 years over a quarterback you have to pay right now?
Fair. Not a good enough reason, but it's fair.
So that's a big story today at the owners' meetings in Arizona.
Well, hold on. What about this hypothetical nightmare? So what if it is Lamar to the Colts, and then the Colts somehow find a way to also bring DeAndre Hopkins to town? Is that a team that now scares you with an offense with Lamar, DeAndre, Micah, Jonathan Taylor?
Heck yeah, it would scare me. They become an instant change. We'll talk about the over-under win total. I think the Jags are at like 10, and nobody else is
not
within
even
a couple of games.
We got a couple of these pieces today that make it sound like the AFC South is in trouble outside of Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, it looks that way right now. But one way to fix that, forget about DeAndre Hopkins, although that could be a nice little answer too.
Oh, yeah.
But Lamar Jackson alone changes the perception of Vegas, changes the perception of the AFC South, changes the dynamic of the AFC South. Now, in the long run, it still could hurt them because maybe it's not the best deal to make. Pay him all that money. Can he stay healthy? Is he going to make that much of a difference for Indianapolis? Like, you'd think yes, but if it doesn't work, it backfires in a big way for Indianapolis rather than starting with a young quarterback. The bottom line is if you miss on a veteran quarterback like Russell Wilson, if he does not play well again for Denver or to the level they think he is, they're screwed for the next, 5 years.
Yes, but how often is it that the rookie misses versus the veteran misses? You know what you got in the veteran.
Yeah. So, but the contract is just so much more.
Yeah.
I mean, so much more.
It's burdensome.
It's not that he has to do more than the young guy. He has to do a lot more than the young guy, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, but to answer your question, I'm not sure it scares me as much as it changes the dynamic. Listen, I'll take the Jags with Trevor and Doug and everything else going on right now over Indianapolis with Lamar.
Okay, but it goes from cakewalk to this might be tough.
That's my point. Yeah. But I'm not Lamar's a beatable guy. Lamar has flaws too. And you can beat Lamar Jackson. Jags have proven that.
With no wide receivers.
Well, we'll see if they get. I mean, listen, you can beat Indianapolis once a year when you suck. We know that. Guaranteed. They're beating Indianapolis if they had 12 Hall of Famers on the roster. It's just a given.
Yeah.
But, again, it changes the dynamic. Because now, you seriously, what happens in the AFC South is you're looking at an Indianapolis, a Houston, and a Tennessee that if they don't get this next move right, that does put them on another delay path for 3 years. So if they don't get the right move at quarterback, what the Lamar Jackson does is probably gives it a floor of getting it right. Mm-hmm. How great it will be, I think, is still a question mark, but at least a floor of, okay, they're going to be pretty good, right?
You're not going under 6 wins or something like that with Lamar Jackson.
So I think that's what changes a little bit. I would rather see Lamar Jackson go somewhere else. Stay in Baltimore, go somewhere else. If I'm a Jack. Now, listen, that's the great unknown. You don't know what they're going to get. They could be drafting the next Tom Brady or whoever. But I'd rather take that unknown.
Yeah.
And I think every fan would. As for the Jags, Doug Pederson, Trent Baalke, Shad Khan out in Arizona and talking. What does Doug Pederson have to say about Calais Campbell, about this offseason versus last offseason? And about Trevor Lawrence. We'll hear from Doug when we come back. Brent Friends on a Monday. Lamar Jackson, the big story. We'll talk about the NCAA tournament and Charles Barkley with a fascinating interview. Charles Barkley, fascinating. What else is new? Some interesting topics there as well on ESPN 690 on a Monday.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Stays hot today with plenty of sunshine and temperatures either side of 90 degrees, so stay cool out there. I'm tracking some isolated showers north of I-10 into tonight and early Tuesday morning with mild overnight lows. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Corey Sima.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Now get 0% interest for 5 years with nothing down.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjax.com.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
If you own a small business, you've probably been hearing a lot about the ERC, how it's worth up to $26,000 per employee, how easy it is, you know the spiel. So why am I still talking to you about it now? Because many of you still haven't filed a claim, but Innovation Refunds can help you close the book on this thing. They're backed by one of those big CPA firms the corporations use, so they can determine once and for all if your business qualifies, and it's free to find out. Go to innovationrefunds.com. That's innovationrefunds.com.
Mom, can I have some ice cream?
I've got a better idea. Who wants to help me make something fun and healthy instead?
Eating smarter is easy and delicious. Interested in receiving healthy recipes and a whole lot more in your email? Then register at healthiestweightfl.com and learn more about all the small steps that you can take on the way to living healthy. This message is sponsored by the Ounce of Prevention Fund of Florida, the Florida Department of Health, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin-tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can trade in any brand water softener and receive $750 towards a new Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jax. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690. Over, under, or target date when Lamar Jackson actually, news comes down. Is it draft week? Or is it sooner than that?
I bet it happens before that because you want to give the Ravens the opportunity to figure out like who they actually have the chance to draft here.
Yeah, the Ravens might want to give themselves that opportunity.
Yeah. Like they got to do some scouting. They missed the opportunity to send 57 people to C.J. Stroud's pro day.
Yeah, it's all right. They got a couple years of tape to watch.
They can still send a bunch of people to Anthony Richardson. So.
That's
They
true.
could.
Which
That
is
is
like
on
tomorrow or
Thursday.
something.
Thursday. I might be headed there.
Oh.
Miami's is today. Florida State's is Friday. So a busy week in the state of Florida when it comes to the pro days, which I guess we all still go to them and everybody still goes to them. I just don't know what we learned from them. I really don't. Like, Jalen Carter will be an interesting one. Jalen Carter has obviously the stuff going on at the combine, but then he goes and shows up to his pro day and kind of fails it, if you will, if you can fail a pro day. So we'll see if that costs him anything. Right now, it still feels like Jalen Carter, the thing that's going to cost him is how many quarterbacks go before him.
It's interesting you say that. We got a new mock we'll talk about maybe a little later on the show today. And it's got not Jalen Carter and not Will Anderson Jr. as the first defensive player off the board.
Really?
Yeah.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah. And it's going to an AFC South rival.
Oh, it's a good tease right there.
Yeah.
I like that. Hey, Doug Pederson is out in Arizona, NFL owners meetings and annual thing. They rotate between Arizona and Florida, so every other year. And they'll be voting on some things. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Obviously, Daniel Snyder's a topic. I don't know if that's a vote yet. I think that's just a topic out there for them. Then there are some rule changes, things. And then even like Thursday night prime time, they have their right to flex. They're going to vote that. You're going to get like 75% vote. So they'll either be in agreement or not. So there's some interesting things going on around the NFL in terms of how the game could change a little bit for 2023. But we care about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's been kind of quiet on the Jags front. Got a very slow free agency period where they re-signed some of their guys. They sign a couple of very low-level free agents in terms of name and cost. They bring back Evan Ingram. Still no extension there for Evan Ingram. And that's really the story of their offseason. That's it. I mean, it stops there. Usually we're talking about, okay, pro days and draft and combine and number one overall picks these last couple of years, or at least in the last 15 years, it's the top 5, top 10 picks. This is a very unique situation for the Jags. They don't have a lot of money to spend. They don't have a high draft pick. Therefore, the offseason to this point has been very quiet. Let's go to cut one, Kasey, and hear from Doug Pederson on the difference between last year when he took this job and this year when he took the Jags to the playoffs.
Looking back to last year, there were some things we had to clean up, we had to fix, we had to add some guys, some impact players, which we did. This year it was about trying to get our guys back, the UFAs on our roster, to try to get them back. And it's the hardest thing every year with free agency because, you're going to lose some guys, you're going to lose some great guys, which we have. But at the same time, we had enough guys still on our UFAs that we got back that still give us that depth we need and still give us that the youth that we need and the competition that we need. And our philosophy when I say with myself and Trent, you don't want to, if you don't have to spend a lot of resources in free agency, don't do it, right? You want to be able to build through the draft and keep your team coming from the draft up. So that was kind of the difference, I think, this offseason than last.
Yeah, Doug Pederson really said that at the end of the year, the day after, right? And here we are a couple months later saying about the same thing. I mean, they basically executed their plan for the most part this last couple of months because their hand was a little bit forced with how much money they had. I'd say the only thing that they did not do that we thought would play out to this point was the extension to Ingram, and there's still time for that. They have until the middle of June to make that happen.
Sure. I get that they weren't going to be major players in free agency, but I can't remember a time where I've ever heard Doug specifically go, if you don't have to spend in free agency, just stay away from it. I never thought of teams considering it like that.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think that's the way a lot of teams would like to be.
Like, I get the preference is through the draft, but never with free agency. Like, there's got to be some value there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that my point to this is I think over the years, let's just take the last 20 years, I think most people would say what Doug said. But I think what we have noted several times in the last couple of months or just talking about the offseason, talking about other teams too, whether it's the Patriots, the Jags of 17, the Jags of last year, the Chicago Bears of 18, Miami Dolphins, the list goes on and on, that free agency works.
Yeah, when you hit.
Like free agency has worked more than it has not for teams that have taken a big jump, or maybe it's just more of a big jump than it is for other teams maybe in the previous 15 years or whatever. But it does feel like it's not a lock that it's going to work. This feels less risky than it used to feel. I mean, people would normally say, it was very cliche to say it's a 50-50 deal when you sign a free agent. You have no idea what a guy's going to do when he gets a lot of money. Is he going to perform that way once again? You don't know the guy in free agency. You don't have the luxury really to bring him in and scout him and talk to him in the first wave of free agency. You're really just writing a blank check to him and saying, okay, we got to rely on what we already know about him or how we viewed him coming out of a draft 4 years ago or anything else. But you really don't know that player unless there's a coach that was with him at that previous spot or something. So there's a lot of risk involved with free agency, but the bottom line is, maybe these guys all realize they can even make bigger paydays after this initial payday, but many of them have been panning out in a good way. Now, there are your bad stories. Kenny Galladay's a great story, right? He signs a big deal with the Giants, and he's done absolutely nothing. I mean, there are stories like that. But I feel like more and more people are hitting in free agency. So I think if Doug had his choice, yeah, you want to build through the draft and have a core group of guys. But I think Doug also wished he had about $40 million to spend this offseason.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you got a team full of young guys in that locker room, you want an older presence in there who's been around the league a little bit. Like Calais Campbell, to name a specific person, would be a great fit in almost any locker room because of the wisdom he brings and the leadership he brings, and you're not going to find that every year in your draft.
All right, fine. We'll go right to the Calais Campbell topic then if you want to do that.
Fair enough.
Cut number 6, and he was asked about Calais, and this seems like something to me, now listen to it, it seems like something that's not dead in the water, but also might play out a little bit. It wasn't like an immediate, he's here, offer, sign. No, instead it's going to be a little bit of a week-long dance maybe with Calais, and will involve some other teams. Here's Doug on Calais.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great visit with Calais. He's obviously spent 3 years in Jacksonville and helped him get to the AFC Championship game, I believe, in 17, which was his first year. And, guys like that, you can't, again, pass up on an opportunity. At least bring him in and talk to him, see where he's at too, right? And see if there's a fit. And so that's why we did that. And again, we still got some time, and I know he has some opportunities to go and visit some other teams, but we had a good day.
It sounded to me like he wasn't convinced, even in the slightest, that this would be the final destination for Calais this season, only because of the way he said, yeah, when you have an opportunity to talk to that guy, you talk to him, as if that's all it was a conversation. Like, hey, you're in town, come on over, let's have a chat.
Well, I think there's a couple of things here, guys. That's an interesting way to read it, okay? And I've got a couple of reads on this situation, too, and we have no idea which one's right.
None, yeah.
But I think our perception, meaning Jacksonville's perception of Calais Campbell and the flirtation with Calais Campbell is so much different than Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson. Now, you might get influence from Tony Khan and Shad Khan, and they know what a big deal he was here. But that whole building in terms of locker room and football people, not a lot here since Calais was even here just a few short years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I think Doug values good players and good people in the locker room, and I think Trent has proven to do that too. So Calais certainly would fit, but they might not be as enamored, is my point, with a guy like Calais at 36 years old as we are here in Jacksonville. They may see skills deteriorating a little bit and concerned that if you bring him in this year and is this the year it falls completely off, right? And I could get that from a football personnel move alone. If you took the name out, you said 36 years old, this guy has done this, great career, but what does he have left? I think a lot of people could curious about it.
Yeah.
I think the intangibles here in Jacksonville, the love affair in Jacksonville, I did a poll over the weekend. I was like, do you want Calais Campbell here?
98%.
It was 97. It's like, what a stupid question. There was over 2,000 votes. 2,000 votes and 97%. And, of course, we're wondering who the hell the 3% are.
Yeah.
Right? But listen, Jags fans are very savvy. Twitter's savvy. Like, they could see that he's 36 years old, too. Does it make sense to bring him back? And 97% of the people are like, yeah, let's go with it. Like, that's a pretty good approval rating. which I did share with Calais, and he was very appreciative of that. And the stuff that he did in Jacksonville is obviously registered, so that's kind of cool. Now, this is what you would call second wave to third wave of free agency. And this doesn't go like hours later. This can drag out a week. And so he's obviously going to visit with, I think, the Bills and the Jets, already visited with the Falcons here in the Jags. The one that concerns me, I think, the most, guys, is the Jets. That's a solid 4-3 defense. That's the defense that they played here in Jacksonville.
They also just lost someone on the interior in Sheldon Rankins.
Problems. They have more money. They could overpay a little bit more if it does come down to $6 million versus $4 million or whatever you want to say. What do you guys think? Atlanta, the Bills, the Jets, the Jags. Who you think wins? I'm not going to say a sweepstakes, but the Calais.
If I had to rank it, I would go Falcons, Bills, Jets, Jags, only because the Jets are keen on re-signing Carl Lawson, but he's already under contract, but his cap number is too high. Defensive end, tore his Achilles, didn't play last year. They had high hopes for him after bringing him in on a free agent contract. Saleh has guaranteed this man will be on the team next year.
He has, yeah.
And so I think that means they're going to try and rework that deal, and I think they're saving some of that money for him as well. Meanwhile, the Falcons interview that Calais did was getting rave reviews. It was written everywhere that they had a tremendous meeting together. Certainly the Falcons have money, and they have need, and the Bills have need. They just lost a few guys on defense, including their defensive coordinator. They could use some wisdom in that locker room, pairing it up with a guy like Von Miller and some of these other standouts that they have on the defense in Buffalo. I think they're in need of it there as well.
Kasey?
No, I think Jacksonville's at the top because all of those other places like the Jets and Atlanta, unless you're just going to way overpay, I don't get it. You got nothing to win there, Calais. The NFC South, cool. That's the only thing you're winning. So if you look at the two teams that are in the same division with a whole Miami, who might be better than both of them, there is so much friction. You might not even make the playoffs. And then you look at Jacksonville, very little friction at the moment. We'll see what happens with Lamar Jackson, but very little friction, and you get to keep more of your money than any of those other places. So just strictly football and contract-wise, easiest path to the playoffs is in Jacksonville. Most money to keep from your contract is in Jacksonville.
Yeah, those are good points. I think Jacksonville makes a lot of sense for him. I really do. From a contender standpoint, obviously the Bills would be first, I think, odds-wise.
Sure.
He is a huge fan of the game. Calais Campbell is huge fan. And I think there are a lot of guys that are big fans. I think there are also a lot of guys that play the game that aren't just big fans of the game, like history and everything else. I do wonder if not playing in New York, but playing with Aaron Rodgers would resonate with him. One of the best to ever do it. I also think he has an appreciation level for the talent of a guy like Trevor, and a guy who does business the right way in Doug, and the locker room that is now here in Jacksonville, the contending chances in Jacksonville. And I do think it hits home for him that it feels like home here in Jacksonville.
I buy that.
I think that resonates big. He's already done work here. He can continue work here. He will be well received here. This would be a great place. If it's not going to be Arizona, why not Jacksonville to get your 100th career sack, end your season, end your career here? I think those things all could pull at him in a variety of ways. I just think the Jets still, to me, are in play because of Saleh, first of all. There's familiarity there. Also, maybe the pull to play with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. And then that scheme. Does he think the scheme is just better off? Which it could be.
Maybe I'm wildly out of my mind here. But certain free agents you look at, you go, all right, there's a guy who's chasing a ring, or there's a guy who's chasing a contract. And I don't get either sense from Calais Campbell. I get the sense that he's a guy who feels like he can still play and still has a lot to offer a franchise, even above and beyond what happens in between the hash marks. And I don't think he's looking at a team like the Jets or Aaron Rodgers going, well, that guy's got a chance to make the Super Bowl. I believe OBJ looks at Aaron Rodgers and goes, yeah, that's my meal ticket. I don't know that Calais is having those same thoughts. And again, maybe I'm wildly off base here. I'm certainly not in the guy's mind. He's not talking to me on the side or anything like that. He's not a close personal friend like RG3 is to me. Right, Case?
Yeah.
But that being said, I look at Calais and I go, I think where this man feels like he's valued most, and it doesn't have to be financially, but valued most is where he's going to feel like he wants to go. But just to give it a little caveat, I do agree with you in terms of those choices, Atlanta, Jacksonville, New York, and Buffalo, I think the city of Jacksonville is a clear advantage in the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got nostalgia and good times here.
The only one thing I would say, I guess it would creep in your mind, you had good times, you built a great legacy here. What if it does go south? Does it tarnish it at all or ruin it all? Like, I guess you could let that creep in your mind, but you're not
too much
thinking
love,
that way,
man.
right?
Too much love out here.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what is south? I think the expectation of the fans, like, I don't think anyone's sitting here thinking he's going to go do what he did in 17.
Yeah, 14
like,
half sacks and stuff.
I mean,
yeah.
if he in a weird way, you would like for him to get more than a sack if he's here all season, right? But in a weird way, if he gets that sack, it's like, hey, you know what? They had this moment. He did it with Jacksonville.
Yes.
And if he has 4.5 sacks, it's great. That's kind of what we expected.
But you're right, Case. The milestone alone is a good enough feeling to have here, I think, that might work.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good call. Hey, let's stay on Jags for one more time. Why will they be better in 2023? Cut 3. I'm interested to hear what Doug said. I didn't hear this. I'm interested, and I'm also interested to get you guys' take. Why is that? Like, is he right? And is there reason to believe they are going to be better? Here's what Doug had to say.
It's just some of the little execution things, the detail things. Guys are going to be much more comfortable with the offense, more comfortable with the defense, their roles within both. You know, I think for Trevor, it's just understanding now. He knows Christian and Zay and Evan, and he knows all those guys around him. It's just now we need to get better. We need to get better in the passing game. We need to take it up another notch. And Travis Etienne, Jermichael Hasty, Snoop Connor, guys in the running game. We've got to be better at angles. We got to be better at hitting holes. We got to see the hole better. There's just those little detail things that now in year 2 we'll be able. Well, year 2 for us, it's year 3 for them, but that they'll be able to see, and we can show them now on tape this spring those issues, and that's where we get better, and that's where we take another step. It's just the details of what we're doing in all 3 phases, and that's why this offseason will be exciting to get the guys back, and we're not necessarily installing the offense again or the defense again, right? It's just how we make it better and how we use our players better.
You got to wonder how ahead they are compared to a lot of different teams. They have most of the staff back. They have most of the roster back, at least from a starting standpoint. I mean, it's pretty incredible to have this many people back for the Jags. Why will they be better? Like, I get what he's saying. The nuances, the details. I don't think it's not a sexy thing to talk about on radio and sports guys. I get what he's saying, though. Those intricacies are important to them. Those landmarks, how you know each other, how you know the playbook. Like, I think those things are very detail-oriented and important. It's what I think Kansas City is so good at between Kelce, Mahomes, and Reed. Like, I don't think you can describe it. I think it's just there.
Well, that's the key.
And the Jags can work on that this year.
That's the key. It's not just about only the continuity. It's the continuity with these extremely special positions that require familiarity. Trevor needs to feel comfortable and trust his options. And a guy like Christian Kirk, a guy like Zay Jones, a guy like Travis Etienne, these guys who have been here since last year, Evan Ingram, he's going to feel really comfortable with them as targets in a way that you can do this nonverbal communication that we saw them struggle with at the beginning of last season and then really come into their own at the end of last season.
Kasey, he didn't say the name I thought he was going to say, though.
Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, because we were talking continuity there. Because he's got a learning curve with Calvin, right? It's going to take him weeks, if not longer, to get comfortable with
But
Calvin
I think
Ridley.
if I ask everybody here, like, not just here, but listen in and just asked on social media, why will the Jags be better in 2023? I think what Doug said is right on. That year 2 he has talked about since the day he got here, and I agree with him. I think it's an important thing for young players, and I think that relationship stuff he just mentioned is going to be better. I also think Calvin Ridley makes a difference. The one thing I don't know yet, which I think has to be, and he does say it at some point this morning, is the pass rush. But I don't know if you can markedly, Kasey, say, okay, they're going to be better at the pass rush because of this. I think it's a little bit of a what if Trayvon comes along? What if Josh Allen plays big in a contract year?
Yeah, I mean, you have no concrete things to point at and say, oh, they're going to be better because of this. Like, they are, when you talk about Trayvon and Devin Lloyd, players that develop into NFL players, going from rookies to guys that have been through it, go through an offseason, and now are able to, I guess, feel more comfortable. But, I mean, there's no concrete evidence that these guys are going to get better. There's no concrete evidence that anybody's going to take a step. You hope, but you can't take hope to the bank. They don't cash hope. I don't know if you know that. So you have to find people veterans if you can to come in and fill roles. They haven't necessarily done that yet. Obviously, we just talked about it with Calais. We'll see what happens there. But, I mean, there's no concrete evidence that says they will get better.
And even more so for a guy like Josh Allen, where it's my belief that he has struggled in previous years because he hasn't had help on the other side, and maybe he's got that help now. But what this man has showed you is over 4 NFL seasons, he really hasn't dominated. So the expectation that he would this year, just because it's his 5th year and he's got money on the line, I don't think it's enough for me to have faith.
No, I think their defensive success comes around guys like Lloyd, Muma, Trayvon, Cisco. Like, can they take like a step? I think it's more that than hoping that Josh Allen's going to have 15 sacks.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen can still be very good. I think he's been a good player.
I think he will be good.
I think Rayshon Jenkins is a good player. But I think you kind of know Foye is going to be a good player. Like, I think you know that stuff. But I think their defensive success lies in those other guys taking a big step. Let's take a break. When we come back, more from Doug Pederson, the Jags, at the owners' meetings in Arizona. You know, the over-under on wins is out, at least early, right? 10 for the Jags. If the Jags got 10 wins, would you count that as better? Like, what is better than last year? I know they were 9-8, so yes, you would say, yes, Brent, that is better. But
would it be
like, what's satisfying? Like, I don't have a good grip on that. What is satisfying for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2023? Talk about it when we come back. Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
Time for an NCAA tournament schedule update. The road to the men's Final Four now heads to the home stretch. The teams are set, and a championship trophy awaits the school that can win just 2 more games. From Houston, Saturday's national semifinals is up next, and all 4 teams are looking to hang around for a shot at the title. To make sure you don't miss any of the excitement, listen to Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA Final Four right here.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Listen to ESPN 690 anytime, anywhere, on any device. Whether you're at home or on the go, get the latest on the Jags, FSU, the Jumbo Shrimp, and Action Sports Jacks on Odyssey.com. That's AUDACY.com or on ESPN690.com.
You ready? Then get set and go to the Ready, Set, Go event, even on pre-owned at Arlington Toyota. That's all makes, all models, all colors, shapes, and sizes, all specially priced during the Ready, Set, Go event at Arlington Pre-Owned. Plus, our friends over at Arlington give you 30 days to love your pre-owned purchase or exchange it. With over 400 pre-owned on the lot, you better get Ready, Set, Go to Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
The Low Post Podcast with Zach Lowe.
Tatum, I think at worst, he's 3rd in MVP right now. He's playing defense at a borderline all-defense level. He's too young for these conversations to really start in earnest. If he's a Celtic for life for most of his career, he has a chance to be historically, for one of the 2 historic giants in the league, as great as any player who's ever worn that uniform, including Bird.
Check out the Low Post Podcast on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
O'Reilly. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with a synthetic oil change. O'Reilly Auto Parts has 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95. Plus, get 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people can recommend the supplies you need, including a filter, funnel, shop towels, drain fans, and more. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you feel a calling to help others? You can change a local child's life by becoming a foster parent through Daniel. You'll receive training, 24/7 support, and compensation to cover the cost for the child's needs and your time. To qualify, you must be over 21, pass a background check, receive training, and have a caring heart. Foster parent classes are starting soon, so please call Daniel at 296-1055. That's 296-1055, or visit danielkids.org.
You've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
You have to carefully monitor your health for the rest of your life. And you have an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease.
Cut. Take 2. Action.
You've been diagnosed with a new purpose, to fight for the amazing life you made for yourself. To look that risk of heart disease square in the face and say, no, not me. You've been given a new opportunity to live. Get started at NoDiabetesByHeart.org.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. Hey, no gate fees tonight on ESPN 690, 7 o'clock after overtime with Kurtz in Middleton, which is after this show until 6 o'clock. Brent and Friends with myself.
Busy
and Aaron
local
Schachter.
Radio schedule.
Kasey Kurtz. Yeah, man, it's been nice with all the Westwood One coverage of the NCAA tournament.
Get a little breather.
Now we get a little, we get our local Monday, which we stay on until 8 o'clock, of course. And this week we'll plan to be out at the baseball grounds, maybe even a couple of times. Tomorrow it's Florida State, although the weather looks iffy, so I'm wondering if they're going to do something about that. We'll keep you posted. I haven't seen anything as of yet. And Wednesday's Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp Media Day, and that is the eve of baseball season. Major League Baseball kicks off, of course, on Thursday. So we'll have a baseball-ish show on Wednesday where we do some picks, and I think we got to catch people up on the new rules and everything. I mean, there's a lot going on in Major League Baseball coming off this World Baseball Classic. So
we spoke to Scott Kornberg on Friday to celebrate Jumbo Shrimp season being upon us. And we meant to kind of go over some of these new rule changes because there's a few now that the minor leagues have kind of been experiencing over the past year or so. And I don't think we got to it, Case, did we?
We didn't. We got caught up on felony day at the Shrimp.
We did. Did you hear about this?
Yes.
Yeah, they're inviting people with open warrants out to the stadium, so we decided Kasey should go down there because he's got this Hardee's running that he's wanted by the police for.
True.
So what do they, if you do have an open warrant, are you going to get arrested?
Well, you get to go in free. Now, they didn't.
You might not get out.
They did not deny or confirm that it's also JSO night and that they'll be waiting there with a paddy wagon to take you a half block down to the jail.
That's awesome.
But it's a cool promo.
I hope somebody shows up. That'd be great.
I think there will be. Look, you still to this day get like drug dealers calling 911 to report stolen drugs. So I definitely think someone's showing up to open warrant night.
That would be something.
I may have an open warrant. You never know these things till you get taken off in bracelets,
Yeah, that would be a bit surprising, right? If you didn't know you had a warrant for you, and then it's like, wow, all right.
Great radio, though. If JSO marched in here, took Martineau out in cuffs, Case,
that would be fantastic. Fantastic on a lot of levels for Case.
I'd be trying to throw my voice, make it sound like Brent's resisting. Don't tase me, bro. One of those things.
Hey, what is satisfying for the Jaguars in terms of success in 23? Their over-under is 10 wins. Is that about right?
Yeah. 10.5, 9.5.
So is that enough? Like, if 10 wins and you win the AFC South again, you go to the playoffs. Is that enough?
They need to be at a bare minimum 5-1 against the division, and they need to beat someone in the Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City stretch. Who else do they play?
AFC North, right?
Well, those are the top teams they play, right? They're not playing anybody else that's like super good.
They are playing, I'm sorry, you said the Bills, Kansas City, Cincinnati?
Yes. I guess that's really the top of the AFC. Like, they don't play Miami, right?
Don't think they play Miami.
So you got to be at least one of those teams, and you need to be 5-1 against the division.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're thinking all regular season. So you're okay with obviously 5-1, and that's kind of win that gets you to the AFC South title and gets you into the postseason. Is that good enough? Do they have to advance to the second round? Like if they were to go out in the first round, is that not good enough? Do they have to have a home game? Do they have to?
They don't have to have
be
a
top 4 seed.
They don't have to have a home playoff game.
I guess if you win the division, you're going to be a top 4 seed.
Right.
I don't think they have to have a home playoff game. But going out in the first round is a disappointment.
Like, I'm really struggling with this, guys, because what they did last year is skipped a whole year, right? I mean, and so now they've sped everything up. And so what happens is the expectations raise. Last year was so much fun because there were no expectations like that. They exceeded them, way, way beyond what everybody imagined. And so now, like, the next step is some of the things that you said, Kasey. I like you being specific with it. Get to double-digit wins. You win the AFC South, okay. But then do I feel empty if they don't go to the championship game?
They probably do have to win a playoff game, now that you say it out loud.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you win the division, which they should, then you should be playing a team that is not up to your level. Now, granted, it's probably going to be the Jets or the Dolphins, which is a different thing. But, you should be winning a playoff game if you won one last year.
I'll tell you what else kind of has to happen, and you guys may or may not agree. You got to sweep the Texans.
Yeah, that's where, I'm with that.
You got to sweep the Texans.
You know what's interesting about all this stuff is that they did all that stuff. I know they didn't sweep them, but I'm just saying they did all the stuff. They got rid of the road loss, and they got rid of the West Coast
They
loss.
exercised the curse.
They beat the Houston Texans finally. They beat the Titans. They did all these things. So I'm not really sure what...
You got to win a playoff game again.
What it is.
You got to win at least one playoff game. You got to sweep the Texans. And to Kasey's point, you got to take down one of these Cincinnati, Kansas City, or Buffalo or San Francisco teams that you're playing.
Guys, I kind of feel, and this is a hard thing to get to.
It's a lot of hard teams on this schedule.
It's hard, right? It's a tough schedule. But I kind of feel like if you go back to the old days, this would be one where you get one of those top 2 seeds and have a bye. The Jags are maybe in that position. Remember now, they got all this money invested in this year.
I think you're...
they're all in.
I think you're next year on that expectation.
You really do?
But you do play, Tampa, Atlanta.
And you have the weakest division.
Carolina. Yeah, you play 2 weak divisions. San Francisco will be tough, but I don't feel like they have to beat San Francisco just because they're in the NFC. I think you need to kind of insert some dominance in the AFC. If you lose to San Francisco, okay, we'll see them again in the Super Bowl, maybe.
Yeah.
If your losses this season are all these great teams like Kansas City, San Francisco, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and then you're winning all the rest, you haven't proved anything. You haven't proved anything.
You got to beat somebody.
Yeah, I'm not off this topic yet. We'll talk a little bit more about it. We've got some more from Doug Pederson coming up throughout the rest of the show with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Charles Barkley said some interesting things. We'll get to that in the next hour as well on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
QC Kinetics patient Diane Richardson saw her brother-in-law have surgery for pain in his elbow.
My brother-in-law, after that surgery, had his arm in a sling for almost 6 months, extensive PT, pain medication, a lot of restrictions of what he could not do.
So when Diane's husband, Greg, had a similar problem, she encouraged a different treatment, regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. And the experience was like night and day compared to his brother.
After 6 months, nothing. He hasn't felt any pain, and that has been 2 years since he's had treatment.
Plus, no drugs and no downtime.
He was literally out golfing when he wanted to and doing whatever he wanted to. It was probably 9 months before my brother-in-law got back out on the golf course, and my husband was on the golf course the entire time. And he was so elated. He goes, Diane, game changer.
Before you have surgery for that joint pain, get a second opinion. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
If you own a small business, you've probably been hearing a lot about the ERC, how it's worth up to $26,000 per employee, how easy it is, you know the spiel. So why am I still talking to you about it now? Because many of you still haven't filed a claim. But Innovation Refunds can help you close the book on this thing. They're backed by one of those big CPA firms the corporations use, so they can determine once and for all if your business qualifies. And it's free to find out. Go to innovationrefunds.com. That's innovationrefunds.com. ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Quarterback Lamar Jackson has left no doubt what he wants out of Baltimore. The former NFL MVP tweeted he requested a trade from the Ravens on March 2nd, Baltimore on March 7th, but the non-exclusive franchise tag on Jackson. He does indeed want out, but there's a reason that trade request can't be granted at this moment, explains ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Lamar Jackson can't be traded until he signs the franchise tender. He's not going to sign the franchise tender unless he knows there's somebody who's willing to pay him, because if he signs it, then he has to start showing up to all team activities.
Adam Schefter on Fitz and Harry. Because of tampering rules, Jets coach Robert Saleh did not mention quarterback Aaron Rodgers by name today and avoided direct questions about the team's interest in him, but said he's confident things will go the way they're hoping. He added the Jets are in no rush to finalize a trade with the Packers, said they could conceivably wait until training camp. NBA 76ers center Joel Embiid with a calf issue will not play tonight against the Nuggets, reports ESPN's Ramona Shelburne and Adrian Wojnarowski, so no match of Embiid and fellow MVP candidate Nikola Jokic tonight.
A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Are you willing to share more?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're in the open. He's like, you know where I took my wife for our anniversary? The St. Augustine Torture Museum for putting up with me for 8 years.
We were going to go on a ghost tour, but you got to get in front of the ball on, though. You got to, book those things. They book up pretty quick in St. Augustine.
They sell out of those?
Lots of ghosts, I guess.
I've never been.
I went, once. It was like a hay ride in, a wagon with a horse, and they took us to a cemetery.
It's kind of what a hayride is, yeah.
I wouldn't know. And they took us to a cemetery, and they're like, yeah, these dead people are in here. It was really lame. But I found the Torture Museum down in St. Augustine. I didn't know this place existed. Do you guys know this place?
I did not know that.
So
is that right on George Street?
It's close enough. It's down one of the side streets. But it's basically, it recounts all of history's different ways that humans have tortured other humans. And it's a really disturbing place to go. Very much not romantic. But I did think there was some sweet irony or coincidence that in honor of the 8 years that I have forced my wife to be married to me, I took her to the Torture Museum to celebrate. We also went to a delicious Peruvian place. It was a nice night, guys, out in St. Augustine. A nice, expensive night.
Why is there a museum for that? You ever thought some museums don't need to be made? That's one of them.
Well, St. Augustine does have a couple of weirdo museums. Even the rated P and PG stuff. The Ripley's Museum is kind of a weirdo.
Well, that's a thing that makes sense.
And then the biggest tourist attraction in St. Augustine is this jail where people were all murdered. I mean, there's a whole feel of this thing going on down there.
Yeah, what's a little more odd in terms of the tourist attraction places in St. Augustine or Savannah?
Savannah, what do they have?
Because they have a lot of similar stuff. Don't they do the ghost tours and everything?
They do ghost tours, and they're these small little bars. And I know Savannah for the pollen capital of the world. Every time I go there, it's I'm breathing underwater. I don't really understand what happens. The Torture Museum is the weirdest place I think I've ever seen.
Is Savannah a big St. Patrick's Day one or Halloween? I can't
Savannah's
remember
a
which
big
one.
Patrick's Day one.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
By the way, so St. Augustine. It was like one of the first St. Patrick's Day celebrations.
Oh, yeah, it is, actually. I read that.
So are these cities in like cahoots with each other?
No, they kind of feel
they
like
just plan the same events?
They do kind of feel mirror cities in a way.
They're like, hey, we're going to do this in March. We're going to send you the plan. You can do it in May. They're like, ah, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I took a few pictures of the Torture Museum. If you guys want to see some of these things, I was sending them to a couple of my friends, letting them know what we were up to that night. You think I'm sick? You should see some of the penalties for some of these things. And by the way, I was saying this to my wife.
You think they got off or they didn't get off?
They did not.
Okay.
I was saying this like back in the 1600s, you legit could just kill anybody for any reason. And people thought it was sport back then. I mean, people would just call a woman down the block a witch and it was over. Lights out.
That actually is, yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't just women. It was like all kinds of people. You decided this person was going to die, and you had any standing in your neighborhood, you were getting it done. And no questions.
And people are like, well, yeah, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this one of the audio recordings in the Torture Museum explained to us for the witches.
You wore the headset?
No. You download the app.
Okay.
The app, and you listen to the audio guide. But they're like,
There's
basically
something weird about going into like this 400-year-old museum,
something
listening
weird?
to an app.
Very
on an
yes,
app, though.
yes. The whole thing is the whole experience is very weird, but also one you should check out if you're curious. So they basically said you put the witch on the stake and oh no, there was one where you drown him. You hang him upside down and dip him into a barrel of water. And the rule was if they survived, then they were a witch and you had to kill them. And if they didn't, then they were innocent.
So they're dead, though.
Yes.
So either way, you're not.
That's a no-win situation.
Yes. This is what I think it was. It had nothing to do with witches and everything to do with the 1500s version of divorce at that point.
But if you somehow survive that, right, and you come out and they think you're a witch, you've got like what, a max of 10 minutes to try to pull off some weird stuff,
or like convince them now you're going to cast spells on it.
Yes,
That's what
exactly.
I would do.
That's
if
what
I'm
I'm
coming
saying.
out of that water, I'm like, whoa!
I'm
I
like,
did this on
did
purpose.
I'm like, well, did you learn?
Yeah.
Because you got to grow some weird stuff
Yes.
on your toes, bro.
Tell him,
and
Kasey.
see what happens.
I was going to say, I mean, that's one heck of a plan of attack after I just survived being tortured.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to be thinking about. Right?
I will say toe warts doesn't seem like a good enough retaliation for almost trying to kill me through drowning. But okay.
But it's not going to happen immediately, and there's a chance that it might happen. You can't promise something like, I'm going to make the sun fly out of the sky, because that ain't happening.
That's
but
true.
if I'm like, hey, bro, you might slide some toe warts in the next 5 minutes, they're going to be like, and then you're going to start thinking about it, and you're like, is there something growing on my toe? What's happening right now? And then by that time, hopefully you're out of the chokehold and you're on the way.
Don't you feel like Casey's telling us something about his toes right now?
No toe warts.
It's a lot about
I
toes.
feel like you might have.
I actually have good toes.
When did you think that this was like a good idea for your anniversary?
As soon as I realized the ghost tours were all booked and I had no plan B. I was the Jets with Aaron Rodgers on the night of the anniversary dinner, and I needed something.
And Lamar Jackson was not coming available.
No, he was not.
I can't explain to you guys how
Lamar was at Castillo.
A disaster we almost had in here.
Oh.
I made coffee for the first time in a while.
Uh-oh.
And I put too much water.
Oh, boy.
I'm telling you, I turn around and my cup
filled to the brim.
Has runneth over.
No, it didn't run over.
It's full to the brim.
I can't move it physically because it will fall, but that could have been bad.
Just like Kasey and his happiness, filled to the brim.
I thought the line was 14, guys. Turns out it's 12.
Yeah, that's a mistake you don't want to make. But you did.
The St. Augustine Torture Museum, I will recommend it because also, as part of it, the part that I really did like, there was also a mini, what they call a micro art gallery that they were doing upstairs in the gift shop. With all of these art exhibits, you can only look at them through microscopes. It was fascinating. They would put art, like a sculpture,
That's a weird
in
place.
the head of a pin. And then you look at it in the microscope, and there was such tremendous detail on these tiny things. Took pictures of that,
Who
too,
does
if you
that?
guys want to see.
Did you tell your wife like you were going here, or was this a surprise?
She was into it.
Okay.
Of course.
Look, she's into a fun adventure. She's not going to judge it based on words like torture or museum. She's down for the ride. This is what I love about my wife. If I go, hey, I want to try something new, I want to try something different, she's like, I'm down. Where are we going?
We're going to the Torture Museum.
She goes,
and
"Love
she's
it."
like, I don't want to talk about the Jets tonight.
You're going to make me watch your YouTube videos again?
Sounds of the season, New York Jets.
Just people sobbing.
What's not been tortureful is the NCAA tournament.
Oh, it's been great.
Hey, guys, great tournament, bad tournament.
Great tournament. Great. One of the best.
I don't know.
What?
I ain't got any teams left. in my
Who needs
bracket.
teams? It's college basketball.
And then I did the second chance bracket.
Lost that one.
Still ain't got no teams in it, right? I tried twice, 8 different teams, none of them are in it. Not even one. So,
did you have any action on any of these games or no?
This is the sky blue.
Nothing.
Just check it out.
Nothing that went like. I bet on FAU a couple of times.
Because we talked to Duck on Friday, Brent, about March Madness and some of the bets or actions he might be taking. And it was the first time I've ever heard him say it. And he said it like 3 or 4 times on the call. He goes, "No, I'm going to stay away from that one. I don't really like it." Like he just doesn't know what to do.
Ty told me on Fliff you could bet on Ashland women the other day.
Forgot all about Fliff.
You can do that on other places too, but yeah. I'll bet on them. What's the line?
I don't know yet. It's on Saturday, but I'd put my money on them. They're undefeated.
Probably not good odds then.
I
need the value. What's the spread?
So what do you think? I mean, we got San Diego State, got Miami, got UConn, got FAU. Isn't that what this tournament's all about? Like, isn't that the beauty of the tournament?
Yes.
Or are you like, yeah, that's great, Brent, in the first few weeks, but now it's the Final Four, and I want Alabama, Texas.
Well, that's my question. Like, do we think truly that one of these 4 teams is truly the best team in college basketball?
For this tournament? Like, is that what you're trying to... If you're trying to find out who the best team in all of college basketball is, why are you doing a 1-game loss tournament?
I agree. Right. Is it for the tournament aspect of it, it's been great. But if you truly think one of these 4 teams is the best team in the country, I don't think that's the case. But if that's not what you're trying to get, I would also say how many times does the best team actually win a tournament this size? Probably not very often.
Not very often.
But also, if Alabama played whoever wins the championship 10 times, how many times does Alabama win?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, and I'm okay with that. But that is the beauty of this, and that's why we have a problem with the football one versus this one. Like, how can anybody see March Madness and what just transpired again here this month and say we're doing it right in football by having 4 teams? Because anything can happen. Like, nobody's thinking FAU is going to make it to the Final Four. That's the beauty of it, right? And I know it's a little harder even in football, but I think that's the mistake of college football. Having just the one champion forever by a vote, the BCS national champ. They finally got it to 4, thankfully. But all those folks that say, hey, 12, that's too many. We're going to get blowout. Are we? Because now, at least in college basketball, we're getting 16s winning and 15s winning and 9s going to the – I mean, FAU has been good all year. We just didn't know how good because of the schedule they play. UConn is one of those teams that is now rising to the top and playing some of the – like, UConn is obliterating people. Like, they might be the best team in the country. They really might be the best team in the country.
Duck agrees with you. He was going to ride them all the way to the championship.
The interesting thing about UConn is, like, they lost early in that conference tournament, and then I was watching Jay Billis, and he was like, doesn't matter. They're winning. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And I didn't listen to him 8 different times. But, like, people were on UConn. Like, that's the thing. If you go back in time, people are like, hey, don't sleep on UConn. Like, I don't know if they're winning the whole thing, but it shouldn't have happened the way that it happened. And, like, turns out they were right. But they really did beat the crap out of Gonzaga.
They did. And like, that's a different topic, and I'd like to get into that. But just overall, I mean, I really think, guys, that FAU could win the national championship.
They certainly have a shot.
No, but, like, usually you get here and you're screwed. Like, UConn might roll everybody because UConn really is playing excellent basketball at the right time. They're pounding people by, like, 20-plus. Miami's another one. Miami's another one that says, we're down double digits. It doesn't matter. Like, we don't need that old 3-ball or anything else. We can beat you in a bunch of different ways. Larinaga can really coach.
And he can dance. Even though he's old. Like, these guys... that's a good game, but I'm still not convinced that if FAU wins or San Diego State's weird because they kind of slug it out.
It doesn't seem like you're buying them. I'm not buying them.
Who, at San Diego State?
San Diego State.
I didn't pick San Diego State to win a game in either the first or second chance bracket.
Yeah, and the problem, like, the thing about them is they're not sexy, right? They mud it up, which also can be they play a different kind of game, which sometimes people don't know how to react to it. So I get it. I get why they're winning, and they've done the right thing. What do you guys think about the foul call? Do you think it was a foul?
I mean, no, not really. I don't know. I go back and forth. I don't know how you call it.
I do too. Like, here's my belief, and he'll never admit it. He doesn't have to because of replay. I don't think he called the hip. I think he missed the call. I think he thought that he got hacked.
And then just had to stick with the call.
I really think that he thought he got hacked, like from that view. Now, they showed the view so you could see the. I just don't think that guy from where he was standing could actually see how much is his hand on his hip or is he shoving the hip. Like, I don't think he can see that. Now, you go back and you're like, okay, he probably did shove it. I thought the guy did a tremendous job of not fouling him up above on the hands and down low when he came down.
I agree.
Like with the feet. But he did have his hand there. And I really don't think it altered the shot that much.
Well, I think the only reason they called it is because it seemed to be like pulling on the jersey a little bit. Not like pulling away from the player, but weighing down towards the hip. You could see where the hand was.
I'm telling you, first of all, I don't know how McDermott doesn't get at some point in there a technical, because I would have lost my mind. I would have absolutely lost my mind in that spot. And I know these guys all believe, and they're right by believing it, that it doesn't come down to one play and everything else. But when you foul with under a second to go, really it was like 0 seconds at the time, and then they put 1.2 back on the clock, it's like, it better be damn obvious, you know? And to me, that wasn't an obvious call. Yeah, by the book, it probably was the call. I'm telling you, though, look at the ref in the 5 minutes after it happens, and I think he thought he screwed up.
Oh, you thought he's walking around with a look on his face?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't believe he called it. In live action, I think he thought he got hit on the arm. And I don't think he did.
Kasey's answering the phone. How much money do you want to bet at South Beach to want to talk about the Canes?
Well, I would if I were him. But
do you want to make that bet?
Well, now
Who you got?
I got South Beach Gary talking about Miami.
I should have had it.
He should be talking about Miami. Let's get him in, South Beach Gary. I mean, those Canes are good. Are they good enough to win it all?
Oh, sorry.
How about them Canes, Brent? Didn't I tell you all along, baby? Woo! I had so much fake aim in that second half comeback. Baby, it was so sweet. I said, Texas can't keep hitting them three-pointers. We're going to come back to earth. And Jim Larinaga doing the dance, baby. Is there nothing better in college sports than Jim Larinaga's dancing?
I was saying the same thing the other day, Gary.
It's the greatest.
I was saying the exact same thing, word for word.
He's the geriatric John Travolta, Aaron. Dancing. But I love it. You guys can see they have so much love for another, so much love for Jim Larinaga, and Jim Larinaga just loves them guys. And what about Miller, guys? Perfect from the free throw line, perfect from for field goals. All the other guy to do it was Christian Laettner.
Yeah, Christian
Laettner.
Laettner.
Perfect game.
Yeah. And how about the women, by the way? Jasmine Roberts out of Bishop Kenny leading the way with an Elite Eight run before falling short.
Yeah, they ran into a tough LSU team. Hey, one more thing, guys. Did you see where Mike Trout is going to design a course with your boy Tiger, Brent?
I did see that. I thought that was pretty cool. I've got to look into it more. I saw the
didn't know
news.
that he was a golfer, Trout.
Yeah, I don't know that much about his background. I vaguely remember him talking golf or going to
Where's
like
he gonna
the
be
Ryder
at,
Cup
man?
or something. What's that?
Where's he gonna be at? Do you know?
I thought
Jersey.
I saw it was in Jersey.
Yeah,
that's
it's
where
in
he's
Jersey.
from. Where he's from, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because he's from Jersey, right, Trout?
Yeah.
Wow, Mike Trout. He's got the money, though.
Well, he does have the money, and so does Tiger. So they're okay. All right, man. Who wins now? Are you guys convinced it's UConn? Do you think Miami gets it?
Are we back to the real world?
Yeah, we are.
UConn.
I mean, he should be excited. I mean, they had a good week in basketball.
I have no idea what he was excited. I need some subtitles or something. But I do think
The Hurricanes.
I think UConn beats the Hurricanes. Is that what you're saying, Case? Or are you saying that's what he was talking about?
No, I'm saying he was talking about the Hurricanes.
Oh,
That's what
yeah. I think UConn runs away with it. It would be nice if UConn could play Miami in the final, because I do think that would be a better final than FAU or San Diego State.
I'm telling you guys, I got this weird feeling. I think FAU might win it all.
I think FAU is going to be in the final.
I think FAU. I just got this hunch now. I think they might win. I would never said that right a while ago, but I think they might win it all.
Got some momentum behind him.
I think he can coach. I think they're good. Like they were good all year.
They were.
And they got depth. The bigs on UConn would be really scary if they had to play them, right? But
lights out so far.
The thing about UConn and Miami, to me, I haven't watched a ton of them. I'm not going to pretend like I have. But obviously we're watching the tournament, and they play so damn fast. Like Miami and UConn play really fast, and then UConn has the bigs. And the bigs ended up making a difference. This is a guard-oriented tournament.
Yeah.
Always is.
But the bigs play really big for UConn. They had for Creighton as well, the big dude in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, they played for – Timmy was the only player that played in the first half of whoever they played before UConn when they should have lost.
Yeah, who was that? I forget.
I don't know. Somebody.
UCLA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good call. They were down big in the first half, and he was the only or they were down after the first half, and he was the only reason they stayed in the game.
Yeah.
So, the bigs have been – and that's the reason why they got blown out. He couldn't play because he was just 4 fouls.
Yeah, and that
they
hate
also
that
stunk.
But that was a stupid foul by him on the fourth one.
Yes.
The third one, I don't like the offensive foul call in college basketball. He tried to avoid him instead of being – see, I'm okay with an offensive foul when a guy looks out of control. I didn't think he looked out of control. The position actually was pretty good, but if you're changing direction, you're still calling an offensive foul. I don't love it. So I didn't like the third foul on Timmy. This brings me to Gonzaga real quick. I've loved the Gonzaga story. But Gonzaga frustrates me, too, because I'm rooting for them to win. I want them to win it. 2 years ago, they had the best team. They were undefeated. They were the best team.
They lost.
And they lost. And now that happens a lot. We were talking about it in the tournament. It happens a lot. This one, though, they did not have the best team this year. They weren't one of the best teams in America. They were one of the top 15 teams most of the year. And the bracket sets up beautiful for them. They get all these teams out of the way. And then they can't win. I feel like if they were in the Final Four, if they had beaten UConn, which, again, UConn might be so much better than everybody right now, and that just might be the eventual national champ. I think they would be hands down Gonzaga's going to win the title, right? That's what people would be saying. And they couldn't get it done. I just don't think they're ever going to win it. They turned into this ultimate Cinderella, beautiful story. Gonzaga, where the hell is that? They put the whole place on the map. I know John Stockton went there, and nobody knew. They put Spokane, Washington on the map. They put Gonzaga on the map. They gave hope to every mid-major that you could build this someday, and they turned into a power. And now they are a power that disappoints.
Yeah.
They are Kentucky. They're basically John Calipari in Kentucky every year.
Kind of. Yeah. I picked them to win.
The whole tournament?
Yeah. They didn't.
And I kind of hate it because I want the bow on the story. I want the Disney finish.
I think it's fascinating that you think that people would think they'd roll over this Final Four had they beaten UConn.
Well, UConn right now is, I think, a heavy favorite to win out of these 4 teams.
They should be.
I think Gonzaga would be twice the favorite.
Wow.
Yeah, I do.
They weren't rolling anyone coming into
Because they beat UConn or because they're Gonzaga?
Both.
Gotcha.
But more because they're Gonzaga.
Yeah.
I mean, they have essentially turned themselves into a blue blood of the last 20 years. I mean, they are Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina.
It's a little bit of hyperbole.
No. The only reason they're not is because they don't have the previous 50 years. But in the last 20 years, they are those teams.
No, I know they've played well, but they don't have the player pedigree that those programs have.
No, they don't.
They've played better than Memphis, hypothetically, over the last 15 to 20. But Memphis still gets more 4- and 5-star recruits.
Right, but also that's why that they're good now and they've sustained it is because they keep their players for multiple years.
For 4 years.
They're not like Kentucky where they got, Anthony Davis and he leaves.
And they do it differently. Usually they get a lot of foreign players.
Yes.
Right? So they're going about it differently, but they are stacked. I mean, they are a really good program. But now I just don't think they're going to do it. I'm waiting for we thought maybe this was the year because they weren't being a number 1 seed and being talked about and not one of the favorites.
Until they slide in there.
And then it just carved out perfect to be all right, this is the year. And then they got whacked. I mean, they got absolutely obliterated.
I mean, they almost lost twice on the way.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I just don't know if they're ever going to win. And I kind of feel bad. I kind of want that Disney ending because I think it's a phenomenal story. It's a really neat story.
Is it true Drew Timme has another year of eligibility? Is that a real thing?
I thought everybody has told me he's a true senior actually, right? So which means he probably would have another year from COVID.
My man is literally the Stetson Bennett of college basketball.
He's like 34.
He's like 26 years old. If he
is
plays
that how
again.
old he is?
I think he's 25.
But seriously, I think people have said that he's actually this was his 4th year senior year.
Why wouldn't you come back?
Yeah, of course.
Other than to get on with your life, but
yeah, but it's not like he's going to the NBA, right?
Right. I don't think. I mean,
yeah, I don't know where he fits in the NBA. Although he's got he feels to me a Kevin McHale kind of move. He could play the post. It seems like in the NBA and get away with it. He's so crafty.
I feel like if Mans puts up a shot that hits the backboard, it's going in. That's what he is.
You're still talking about a 6'10" guy who in college doesn't really rebound well. You're expecting him to go in the NBA and do something.
He doesn't feel like a good NBA player to me, but he might be.
They could not rebound.
He does have 4 years of play for Gonzaga.
They are
so
really
he might have one more left. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Like Ty and I were watching. Ty was actually he was way more upset about it than I was, but we had him in a little pool. And he was like, they don't play defense.
They don't.
They just don't.
And they don't rebound.
Ty was like, they look like us playing defense at the courts when we go down the neighborhood. Like they don't play defense.
They play about a third of the keys you need in basketball. They score. They do not defend nor rebound.
A third of the keys.
That's why they're no longer playing.
Yeah.
I hate it. I just don't think they're ever going to win.
It's okay.
And I'm disappointed because I love the story. I really do. But now I'm kind of getting tired of them.
Well, now you can be a big FAU fan or a Creighton fan and be done with it.
I'm going to take FAU to win it all.
I think they go, and then they get rolled. And it's not competitive in the second half against UConn.
Like, the FAU story, I'm not sure we're celebrating the Cinderella aspect of it enough. They had 0 tournament wins before this year. Their basketball program was as irrelevant as any program on earth. And they're into the Final Four.
With a chance to go to the championship. A
realistic chance.
Yeah, a real
What
shot.
does it say about the state of college basketball? What does Charles Barkley think about the state of college basketball and some other things when we come back on ESPN 690?
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny and very warm today with temperatures back up near 90 degrees and near records. I'm tracking some isolated showers north of I-10 tonight and early Tuesday. Most neighborhoods start the day dry with low temperatures in the 60s, but scattered showers and storms roll across the area Tuesday, so keep that umbrella close. Have a great Monday. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Corey Sima.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Now get 0% interest for 5 years with nothing down. Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features in window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help reduce your energy usage. All at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now to save big with 12 months, 0 interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals.
Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
All that walking from the Players' Championship a couple of weeks ago might have fired up the aches and pains for you. It's amazing how you can feel some days in not a good way. Well, feel better with QC Kinetics because they are helping so many people here in the Jacksonville area get lasting relief from the aches and pains, especially the joint pain, without surgery, without drugs, too. They've got 2 clinics in San Jose and Ponte Vedra, and the patient satisfaction reports are amazing. And now they've taken it to a new level with a new medical director, Dr. Peter Atch. He's a renowned triple board certified medical doctor with decades of experience. So if you're tired of living with pain in your back, hip, shoulder, or knees, don't let anyone tell you surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics and get a free consultation. Learn how advanced regenerative medicine can get you real relief with no downtime. In Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, call 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522. It's a free consultation. Get it with QC Kinetics at 904-274-5522.
Interest rates may be going up, but not at Beards Diamonds.
The year's most exciting offer is back for a limited time.
0% financing for 5 years, plus get 0 down on everything in the store.
It's the sale smart jewelry shoppers wait for.
You get Beards already low prices, but then you get to spread your payments out for 60 months with no money down.
How about a $6,000 Decory or Veragio ring?
You pay just $100 a month.
Or a pair of $3,000 stud earrings.
You pay just $50 a month.
Save now on all GIA certified and lab grown diamonds and spread your payments for 5 years and get 0% financing.
Now's the time to get her that designer setting she's been dreaming about.
0% financing for 5 years. Plus get 0 down on everything in the store.
But hurry, this incredible finance opportunity won't last long.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Don't buy anywhere until you shop Beards Diamonds.
We've been in Jacksonville now for 15 years, and as you know and I know, we have to be ready for those hot days. And this time of year, the cooler temperatures, too. Need that AC working and then be ready to turn on the heat for a day or two. Bold City Heating and Air has us ready. They have for years. Can't say enough about their customer service. The communication, they are prompt, they are clean, they are good. Bold City Heating and Air, and right now, take advantage of their 0% financing on all purchases and just $97 for a tune-up. Be ready for the chilly weather and the heat. Bold City Heating and Air, boldcityac.com.
We are here for Magda, a Holocaust survivor.
Things become harder with age.
We are here for Sharonda, who needed parenting support.
I cried out to her. She listened to me.
And we're here for Ashley, who needed to heal.
She helped me feel like I didn't have to be scared.
Jewish Family and Community Services is here for seniors with food, financial assistance, and counseling. JFCS is here for Jax. Visit jfcsjax.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Kasey and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Action Sports Jax. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jax. Watch, listen, subscribe. All right, I don't like when you do all this work to print stuff out and I don't get to it, and I doubt we're going to hold it over till tomorrow. So real quick, I said, is this the best tournament or the worst based on who's left for the Final Four? Some people don't like that. You know, last year you had North Carolina, Kansas, Duke, and Villanova, I believe. So you go from that to this, where it's like a who's who to a who's that. Yeah. Right? Well, in 2010, you had the top 5 basketball tournaments in NCAA history. 2010, I was number 5 on this list. Duke beat Butler in the national final by 2. I kind of remember that game.
I think of 2010, all I can think about is Gordon Hayward from nearly half court missing that shot.
I remember. That was a really good game.
Yeah.
And I guess they say best attribute, another wild first weekend. And then Butler, of course, making it to the national final. So
that wild first weekend, there are 12 out of 32 first-round games decided by 5 or fewer points or in overtime.
Well, there you go. Number 4, 2006. Maybe the greatest second weekend ever, they say. George Mason beat UConn in the best game in the Elite Eight. And, of course, that was Larinaga bringing George Mason.
Yeah.
That one guy beat the whole team. Good for George.
This one says, despite starting out as a 3-seed, Billy Donovan's Florida Gators were clearly the class of the tournament, winning 6 games by an average of 16 points. Sounds a little bit like UConn. That was their first of their back-to-backs. The Sweet 16 UCLA Classic comeback win over Gonzaga. 2 overtime games, Villanova over Boston College, UConn over Washington. Narrow Florida win over Georgetown. George Mason Cinderella run with a win over Wichita State. So that's how it got there.
Yeah, George Mason's pretty much the headline of that tournament.
1983, of course, that's Valvano.
Jimmy V.
The famous Jimmy V. NC State beats Houston 54-52, so I think you know that one. 1990.
This is one of my favorites of all time.
Duke 79, UConn 78, and the Elite Eight was the best game. National title game. 1990 tournament did not provide that. UNLV pummeled Duke by 30.
So much star power in this tournament, though. It seemed like every team had an NBA star on it.
So this was the one where Loyola Marymount reached the Elite Eight?
Hank Gathers, yeah.
Yeah. That was after the death of Hank Gathers. That was the Bo Kimball year.
Yeah.
That was a memorable tournament.
Shooting left-handed.
Wait, so my man's died on the court, right?
Yeah.
And they just kept playing?
They collapsed. This was before the tournament.
Yes, it was that year, though.
Not like days before.
No, it was. It was that season.
It was days before the tournament.
So why did okay?
So they kept playing in his honor, and then Bo Kimball ended up shooting a left-handed free throw. And
you think they should have canceled their year?
I'm surprised that they kept playing.
I mean, 33 years ago is a different time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. It just, I don't know. I didn't know that. Well, I knew the story. I didn't know that they kept hooping.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually, what you do lose in, because that is so vivid in my mind, that whole thing, the whole situation, but not the timing of it. I didn't realize it was just days before. I remember I was just such national news. Like I remember watching on like the morning shows, like before I went to school.
And granted, 1990, so you must have been like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
But do you remember any sentiment whatsoever that they should just quit? Like I wouldn't, there's none of that. And today, if it happened, you'd be shocked if it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
They would cancel the whole year. Like, you died? Days to go before the tournament? Absolutely. It'd be like, there are some things that are bigger than basketball.
Yeah.
But back then, it was like, how could they not? They have to do this for Hank Gathers.
And, like, again, I wasn't alive, but it feels like if it happened now, they'd cancel it. But one, you'd, like, figure out why it happened. I feel like if it was then, I'd be like, why did that happen? Could this happen to me? Like, this is scary. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they attributed it at first to his own health issues, and then later whispers of other outside substances may have played a part.
That's tough.
Well, he had a heart issue, though.
Right.
I guess I don't know if I agree with you guys, but you bring up a good question. I don't know if they would have canceled the tournament if that happened now.
Not the whole 64.
I'm sorry, their season.
Yeah.
But you guys think they would now?
Yeah, I think there's examples of this.
I'm trying to think what happened with Keontae Johnson. Now, obviously, he did not die. They didn't keep playing the game.
They did not keep playing that.
No.
Jamar Hamlin.
Well, Hamlin. Oh, so Hamlin's an interesting one here, but then you got to ask this question. I don't know if I want to ask it. If the result was different, does Buffalo continue to play
this season? Yes. But certainly not that night. And
who knows
when?
They didn't play that night.
Right. And who knows when, right?
But I think it's different because it's college, I think, personally. Like, again, somebody's kid, so, like, it doesn't really register. But, like, you know. Like,
I'm going to avoid asking this question on Twitter because it's not going to come off very well.
I wouldn't ask it.
But it's so morbid, really.
It is. But I think it's an interesting question. I think they would play. I really do.
I don't know, man.
And by the way, I don't know if every team would have played back then. I think it's probably up to each team, and how you want to go on, and maybe what the family says, and what the coach thinks, and what the school thinks. Like, there's a lot of factors in there that I wouldn't even know at that time because I was young. But I guess we would have to read back on it and see how many factors really came into play there and why they did play. But it ended up being, I think it added to his legacy and memory that they did play because they played well in that tournament.
That's fair.
So
on a happier note, on a not as morbid note, I was talking about how star-studded that tournament was. Derek Coleman, Chris Jackson, Larry Johnson, Gary Payton, Lionel Simmons, Kendall Gill, Alonzo Mourning, Dennis Scott. I mean, just loaded tournament.
Is it bad that I'm only following you with like half of those people?
Yeah, great era of college basketball.
Like you'd say a couple, I'd be like, huh?
Even
like
that UNLV team with Larry Johnson, guys like Stacey Ogman, who didn't go on, like, I think he played for the Hawks for a little cup of coffee, but
yeah, he was supposed to be way better because I had his basketball card and I thought it was going to be like,
he's going to be amazing. He was like a forward guard who could shoot the lights out, playing for one of the best teams in the whole squad was just fun to watch. It was a great time for college
All right, so
basketball.
number one, they say, is 1985, Villanova-Georgetown, 66-64.
It's that big Patrick Ewing game.
And, yeah, I mean, that was the Big East, a huge year for the Big East, which almost was a huge year for the Big East this year.
Yeah.
Because you still have UConn, and you almost got UConn-Creighton potentially in the final.
That's fair.
The crazy thing about that is Creighton doesn't sound Big East to me. But the Big East, that's part of this year's tournament, and it's really good.
And those weren't the teams that won the tournament either. The Big East tournament.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so like technically they weren't even the best.
The Big
team.
East was good.
Real good.
I also don't think.
Wish I didn't pick Marquette to go to the Final Four, but.
Yeah, me too. I did too.
Yep.
I
thought they were good.
This year you have the kind of star power out of the Big East that you had back then, legitimately.
No.
Teams,
The Big East was bigger then. Yeah. I mean, the Big East, they were, like, I just saw a documentary on it.
They were the basketball version of SEC, basically.
But they had 3 out of 4 in I think, maybe 85 wasn't the year they had 3. Maybe it was 87 they ended up with 3 out of 4, because that's what Providence and Syracuse, Indiana, and I don't know, maybe Georgetown was in that.
Or St. John's, maybe.
Yeah, I can't remember now. But anyway, the Big East is still, it's kind of back, though. Big East has been good these last few years in basketball. Which I kind of like.
I could point to very little of those schools on a map from the Big East, by the way. I just want you guys to know that.
Speaking of college basketball, we talked about this with Matthew Driscoll a couple weeks ago. Is parity good for this sport?
Totally.
And right now what's going on in college, we don't like any of it. I say we. I'm just talking about as a public. Like, it feels like society doesn't love the NIL stuff all across the board, or at least it's polarizing. The transfer portal. Right? The 25-year-old players because of the COVID year and everything. Well, I wonder if all of this has made, I think it's made college baseball. And I'm not saying I'm all for all of it, but I think college baseball is as deep and as good as it's ever been this year. Like, ever. Maybe the best it's ever been.
I'd agree.
And college basketball, it's got to be some of the best parity we have seen in college basketball.
Yeah, I agree. I think the transfer portal is the big winner in that.
Probably.
Because, I mean, you saw it, 2 years ago when, whose name escapes me, went from JU to Arkansas, and then he was a star.
Oh, yeah, Note.
JD Note.
Yeah.
And, you have players from all over that, can play. They go to smaller school, they stay home, whatever, and then they get the opportunity to go to an Arkansas or go to Providence, and things go well for them. So I think the transfer portal has been a big part of that, but also there's probably a sense of it that is athletes are just bigger and better than they've ever been, and that goes down to the college level. So you have more talented players in more talented teams, and you get stuff like this.
All right, so the reason I bring this up, Charles Barkley, he was on 60 Minutes last night. There's a bunch of Charles stuff. We might not get through all of it today, but this is his thoughts on and I love Charles, and I think he says it how it is, and he's right a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time. But this is cut 4, Kasey, and I'm not sure I agree with him based on this year's tournament and what we're seeing right now in college athletics. He says the state of the game is in trouble in college hoops.
It's a travesty and a disgrace. I'm so mad now how we can mess up something that's so beautiful. We can't pay all these players.
Too late.
In the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to have 25 schools that's going to dominate the sports because they can afford players. And these schools who can't afford or won't pay players are going to be irrelevant.
Let's not pretend like there's any sport that exists that doesn't have dominant franchises in it. If anything, the NCAA has the least of that in terms of basketball.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Charles is right here. He's predicting the future a little bit because he's talking about NIL primarily. When the logjam and the older guys run out, will transfer portal offset the NIL? Will it help other schools in basketball and other sports? I don't know. But the bottom line is, weren't there only 20 really good programs in college basketball for 50 years?
Yeah, maybe less than that. I mean,
until
if you're
Butler and Gonzaga came along and others.
And Baylor. If you're talking about royalty, you're talking about 10 to 15 schools max.
Yeah, so I don't. And right now we've got more schools that are good.
Way more.
Than ever before. But we are in the infancy of NIL. So I understand his premise. I just don't know if he's right about it. Because, again, I think right now we don't love all the stuff going on in college. It feels a little off. Or at least, like I said, polarizing. I think there are some things to be in favor of. But I just don't know how you can argue about the depth of college hoops, the greatness of college baseball right now. And I don't know if all these sports are responding the same way, but it feels like, at least in those two instances, it's pretty damn good.
Not only that, but you want to talk about which sports are paying what and how much. You would assume, based on the national landscape, that football NIL deals are the most expensive for these boosters. It's not like you got to pay 90 kids on the basketball team. I mean, how many kids are you realistically throwing cash at?
Probably 4.
Yeah. So, like, you don't need to be a Kentucky to do that. You can be Creighton and throw money at somebody. You just need a rich alum.
Now,
I actually think it helps more than it hurts.
There are some people that will say the Creightons of the world have been dipping into that stuff that the Kansases and Arizonas and others and have been accused of doing for a while anyway.
But the point is, like, it's I think easier in basketball than literally any other sport for them to compete and have parity.
I think it's interesting. We're going to see it. If it's just a one-year thing, is it just because we're kind of still in this post-COVID bubble? Like, we really don't know yet. But it's about to play out, and I thought it was interesting. Charles Barkley thinks it's going down a dangerous road. I just think if it's 20 programs that are really good, that's like the college football way and the old way of college basketball, really, at the end of the day. Let's get Daniel on before we take a break. Daniel, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Hey, on the whole bracket situation, when I was sitting with my daughter going over, she at her office does a bracket thing, and she's going through, and she's like, well, I've heard of this name, and I've heard of this name, and I was like, well, one of the things that actually picked up from your show when you had the one coach on a couple weeks ago, he was saying that there are only 15 scholarships that each team has available, or most teams have available for their players.
13 now.
Oh, 13. So that makes it to where when you have your Alabamas and all of those, you are going to have a good GPA to go there. There are a lot of phenomenal athletes who don't have good GPAs. No knock. I'm not trying to besmirch Kasey's alma mater here, but FAU probably doesn't have as high of a GPA requirement as what some of the other schools do. And so you can get some of the phenomenal athletes in there, and then you're going to be able to go and wreak havoc on people's brackets because people in California, they don't know who FAU is, but they have great players now. And so they're going to be able to go through. So, and then the other thing is one of the guys that we ended up signing, one of the free agents that we ended up signing over the last couple of weeks, I noticed that his jersey number was 91 with his old team. I hope that they don't plan on him being 91 on our team because we need to re-sign our number 91. So we need to make sure everybody knows that. We need Smoot back. So
that's right. Smoot did go from 94 to 91, didn't he? I was thinking of that, right? I was like, is he taking this down to Yannick Ngakoue Road? Or thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it. I don't know if I completely followed him on the basketball stuff. First of all, it's less about people's brackets, but I think if he's talking about people that can get in some places versus other places, that's long been the case, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm confused. So you do understand what he said?
Well,
I
don't know why that's different. Like, that's been the case for a long. Like, it's harder to get into some schools versus other schools.
But now you have better athletes. I think that plays into that as well.
Yeah.
I think it goes to casting a wider net in recruiting. I think it has to go with the transfer portal, guys that upperclassmen players, if you will, going to certain places depending on what they want to do. And I get the point. I get the sentiment of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, UNF is not going to recruit the same kid that FAU is going to recruit.
No, they're not. They're not.
And is that an advantage? I don't know. But FAU's playing in the Final Four.
It's an advantage.
Yeah.
Definitely. But listen, this goes all the way back if you want to go to, like, Notre Dame. Notre Dame was not good for a stretch. They were good when Lou Holtz was there because he got exceptions. Right? He got exceptions. They had plans in place where you didn't have to be, like, normal Notre Dame athlete or student to get in and play. Well, then they went, like,
off the reservation,
like Ivy League or whatever, and they wouldn't allow people in as much after Lou. Well, then they went back to it a little bit like, okay, we got exceptions again. Like, that is a real deal thing. If you're not going to allow some athletes in, then you are going to have a harder time. I mean, there's a reason why there's at least plays a part in it that the Ivy League schools don't dominate college athletics.
And Princeton was balling, though.
They were pretty good.
They're Ivy League,
Doesn't
right?
mean you can't be good. They just usually aren't the dominant ones unless you go back to like 1800s.
Well, in the break, I'm going to compare Creighton's NIL deals to Princeton's NIL deals, and we'll see who's spending more money.
We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can trade in any brand water softener and receive $750 towards a new Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Wenner, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial ** invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Does your digital marketing work? Not sure? Would you like to be? Then reach out to CMG Local Solutions. At CMG Local Solutions, we help you find new customers with a suite of powerful digital marketing services, including search, targeted display, video, and analytics. In fact, we're a Google Premier partner, an honor given only to their top marketing partners. So if you want results you can actually measure, both on the web and on your bottom line, we can give them to you. Learn more about how we can help you at cmglocalsolutions.com.
Shop the Beaches Green Market this and every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Penman Park on Penman Road for fresh local fruits and vegetables, plants, meats, eggs, baked goods, honey, wellness products, and so much more. EBT cards welcome. Diglocal.org for more info.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Lowe's MVP's bonus days are back for pros. Right now, buy a DeWalt 20-volt Max Power Stack Battery 2-pack at $199 and get a select DeWalt Bear tool free. Plus, earn 3 times the bonus points on all Metabo HPT tools and products. Shop even more savings and bonus points offers during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid 3/20 through 3/31. Subject to change. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. Visit Lowes.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
Dale, who are you? I'm you. I'm Future Dale. Navy Federal Credit Union sent me. Listen, your future depends on something important. Like saving the world? No, I said your future, not the future. You need to start saving with Navy Federal so you can buy your dream house.
With savings resources, no monthly fees, and accounts for your every need, you can plan for your future at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Open to the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Insured by NCUA, an equal housing lender.
Every piece of land has a story. Some write theirs behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor, like the Upshaws.
This is my tractor Penny. It's all about attention to detail.
But the Nelsons love cruising around their expansive Montana ranch in their John Deere Gator UV.
We've been here since 1868.
While the Caggianos drive a John Deere zero-turn mower to keep their Long Island brewery looking sharp.
Don't call me, don't bother me. I'm going out to mow for a couple hours.
Run with us and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
Yes, we do have availability. Those dates for how many guests?
Andrea's Boutique Hotel is the destination to tie the knot.
Oh, you want the whole property?
She needs an assistant to catch the bookings bouquets.
249 guests, huh? Oh, and 3 dogs.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690. Welcome back, Brent Friends. Football at 5 coming up in just a bit. These shows seem to fly by lately. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton coming up at 6. No gate fees.
Don't mind me.
No gate fees on at 7 o'clock.
Dude, 7. Nice.
Have you had any kids events that you had to pay to get into yet?
Like no gate fees?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like you're doing some basketball,
Like my
but you
kid-
wouldn't have to do that yet. I
No,
don't think.
we didn't do anything. We didn't pay anything like that for basketball. Do you consider like ballet, any of that stuff? Because not only are you paying for the class, but you're paying for the costumes, and then you're paying for like the transportation for the kids to get someplace, and
Do
not
you have
the
to
same.
pay to get in?
We paid tickets to go watch the recital.
Yeah.
Oh, so you did?
Okay.
Like how much? Do you remember?
It was like $10, $15, $20 a ticket or something like that.
Well, 10 and 20 are vastly different. Were you paying 40 total or 20 total?
Was this a school function?
No, it was a dancing school function.
Okay. Yeah, so they're making money off it.
Yeah.
See, that's the delineation for me, which we'll talk about later on the show. Like, I have no problem doing the high school or
You don't mind
stuff.
throwing money at the education.
Yeah. You know they got to fundraise.
Yeah.
The difference is when you're already paying for all that other stuff, and then they
come back for more.
Slap you in the face with 10 more bucks to watch your kid play a game. And by the way, what I've learned in this topic is baseball and softball might be the cheapest. Holy cats.
Wow. Yeah.
Don't let your kids grow up to be cheerleaders.
Oh, I have experience there.
What?
My sister-in-law.
Okay.
She was like semi-pro. She went to USF for it. But like,
Are you related to Olivia Tassley?
No, but we did. We did end up going to a bunch of these competitions at like the arena and these other places, and oh boy, they're making money out of these.
Oh, wait till you hear. I'll tell you later tonight.
I hit up Amanda's uncle, I guess.
Yeah.
Volleyball family. So we're trying to get some answers on that for
Please do, because volleyball, I've heard, is expensive as well.
you. Oh, he's told me it's expensive when I've seen it.
You got to pay for that air conditioning in the volleyball.
It's right what Aaron's into, by the way, going off the last conversation.
I'm down. I'll go to a volleyball match.
Football at 5 coming up next on ESPN 690.
Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features in window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help reduce your energy usage. All at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now to save big with 12 months zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals. Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
Attention Dish customers. Dish Network dropped WFOX Fox 30, depriving you of your favorite programs, local news, weather, and sports. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and tell them to put WFOX Fox 30 back on the air. Don't let Dish keep you from the important news, sports, and entertainment programming you love. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and then switch to another TV provider.
The Guaranteed Offer from Mark Spain Real Estate allows you to skip the hassle and get your home sold fast and stress-free. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry, so you can sell your home stress-free, make the most money, and move when you're ready. One of our clients, Danielle, said, "I can't say enough good things about Mark Spain Real Estate. Their Guaranteed Offer made selling my home so easy. I highly recommend them to anyone interested in selling their home. Don't worry about the hassle of constant cleaning and making costly repairs. There are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Our Guaranteed Offer keeps you in control. I've been in business for nearly 30 years and have served over 50,000 satisfied clients. And I know what matters most, a quick sale and maximum profit. Find out what your Guaranteed Offer would be. There's no obligation. Sell your home fast with a Guaranteed Offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Go to markspain.com to get a Guaranteed Offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hi, I'm Maria, and I ended up in the hospital with COVID for 130 days, 70 of which were spent on life support. At 41 years old, I was healthy and had a lifestyle filled with work, friends, and travel. Everyone 6 months and older should get their COVID and flu vaccines this season and keep all immunizations up to date.
To learn how to protect your family, visit vaccinateyourfamily.org/learn.
I'm Christine Lisi. Quarterback Lamar Jackson's ready to take flight from the Ravens for good. In a series of tweets today, he said he requested a trade from Baltimore March 2nd. The Ravens placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on Jackson March 7th. Baltimore must resolve this matter soon, advises ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
You can have certain players on your team that want to be traded and can still be in your locker room and play and perform a role. I don't believe that can be anyone playing the quarterback position, because the quarterback is it's involved in too much within the organization, the team, especially the offense. Everyone looks to him.
ESPN's Pete Thamel and Jeff Borzella reporting Texas interim basketball coach Rodney Terry's agreed to a 5-year deal to become the Longhorns' full-time coach. NBA 76ers big man Joel Embiid, right calf tightness, will not play tonight against Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets, reports ESPN's Ramona Shelburne and Adrian Wojnarowski. Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo and Drew Holiday both out tonight against the Pistons.
When you're trying to hire and fill open jobs, the searching, screening, and interviewing can become its own job. You need Indeed, their powerful hiring platform that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
On average, an artificial limb for a child starts at $5,000, and the first prosthetic for an adult can cost up to $50,000, making it nearly impossible for disabled children or veterans to afford the limb they need. At Life Giving Limbs, we cover the cost of these prosthetics, giving recipients a chance at receiving a new limb and a new start on life. Please help by donating now. Visit lifegivinglimbs.com or call 469-601-8523.
Do you feel a calling to help others? You can change a local child's life by becoming a foster parent through Daniel. You'll receive training, 24/7 support, and compensation to cover the cost for the child's needs and your time. To qualify, you must be over 21, pass a background check, receive training, and have a caring heart. Foster parent classes are starting soon, so please call Daniel at 296-1055. That's 296-1055, or visit danielkids.org.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
We've got too much stuff. I wanted to talk more Charles Barkley, but
we could.
We got to talk football. We got Charlie. We got all week.
He's shaped like a football.
Yo.
He even talks about it. They talk about him being the round mound to rebound.
Who doesn't love Charles Barkley?
He's the GOAT.
I was thinking of Charles Barkley today. I was like, is he kind of... Is Charles Barkley Howard Stern?
Of sports?
I don't know.
I don't consider him Howard Stern.
But isn't that what makes Howard Stern? Like, what made I wasn't a huge Howard Stern guy. Okay, but my buddy is lives for him, and I know he was. I mean, Howard Stern had some Andrew Dice Clay in him as well.
He was shocking, yes.
But he also is a guy that says it how it is. Like he says. There's some things that you might think that you're not going to say in front of a microphone. Howard Stern kind of would say it. Charles Barkley is kind of that guy that says it.
I don't know that I give Howard Stern that reputation.
You don't think so?
He built his fame on being shocking.
I get it. He was shock jock.
And I understand where you would think the says it like it is kind of stuff might come from because he's not afraid to say things that are embarrassing.
He doesn't care if you're Republican, Democrat, doesn't care if you're this, doesn't care if you're that. He's going to say it, right? I think that's my interpretation. That's my perception of him.
To me, it's always been more for a guy like Howard about the entertainment factor. And for Charles, it's always, to me, it's been more about this is who I am, and if you don't like it, kick rocks.
He reminds me in a way of Daniel Tosh. I don't know if you guys like Daniel Tosh.
Love Daniel Tosh.
He'll say whatever. Brent doesn't know. It's fine. You're old.
Comedian.
Tosh Boy know. It's a show looking up. And again, it's hard to make that comparison because Charles, there's something that you're going to get to eventually. It's sports. That's why you're listening to him.
Yeah.
Daniel Tosh is a straight comedian, but you don't know what you're going to get with Daniel Tosh. You really don't know what you're going to get with Charles, but you know for sure whatever he's feeling, he's going to say it.
But how many times does Charles say something you're like, at least somebody said it? Right?
A lot.
You know what I mean?
Often.
Because he will say, even in the interview at 60 Minutes, it's great. And you knew it was coming about his daughter. When he does the daughter stuff, do we have that part?
We have a part of it, actually. He was talking about
his grandkid. But I'll just share the story. He was saying how he had thought his daughter she's 6 feet tall. He's going to be this great basketball player.
He was convinced.
And he can't wait to teach her the game and all this stuff. And then he goes and watches her play. And she's
awful.
Well, not tough, not assertive, not aggressive. And he's like, oh, my gosh. And then he goes on to say, she's really smart and she's a great kid.
3.96 GPA or something.
And whatever the guy was doing the interview, it's yeah, but now you find, that's even better now.
He goes, her great grades must have at least made up for her being bad at basketball. Not quite.
Not quite. And it was so Charles. And it's
Love it.
Yeah, I kind of feel you. I feel you. Hey, there's a little part you wish he was playing basketball.
Yes.
I bet there are a lot of dads like that, right?
Literally.
And he says it.
I'm talking to my son. I'm trying to get my son to get back into extracurriculars. He's 7 now. He played basketball, and he didn't love how much practice there was. He wants to play soccer. And I get soccer is fun for people, whatever. It's not my sport.
Good for that kid. I'll go to the games.
I'm not telling him no.
Yeah.
But I'm also whispering in his ear, look how much fun these people are playing basketball over here. Look at this. It's so much fun.
You know how much soccer players make, though, bro?
Not as much as basketball players.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, the good news is he's not making either of those teams professionally, I don't think, so we don't have to worry about it.
That's always the fallback.
Never know.
It's at least he's not going pro.
Yeah, you never seen this kid play in the midfield, dog. He might be a serious problem
on the pitch. Okay.
I tell you now.
Call Ted Lasso.
About a year ago or 8 months ago, Aaron was fired up about those basketball practices.
Oh, that kid was practicing his ass off.
He's not into it. He's not into it.
He was gliding like a gazelle.
Dude, we literally
was
played,
killing it.
Me and my son played a couple of neighborhood kids this weekend, literally. And I'm trying to
stop the car. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You and your son played a couple of neighborhood kids?
Me and my son dominated a couple of neighborhood kids. Dominated.
Did you dunk on them?
No.
How big was the rim?
It was a regular sized rim.
Okay.
And I passed the ball a lot to my son. I let him score a bunch of points. Although when we were in the clutch and almost losing, I had to score a few to get it close. But the point is that
it took an hour and a half to get to 11.
Every time he would score, I'd go over the top. Be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah, great job. Please play basketball. Please don't make me go to soccer.
Make him go to soccer.
Please play basketball.
What's the worst parent sport to watch?
Badminton.
No.
Like
pretty
a real
bad.
sport that people are actually playing on team sport.
Badminton is like mini tennis.
Tennis might be the answer.
Track and field's got to be pretty bad.
I'll give you that.
Sitting in the stands, just waiting.
And you never know when your kid's going. And then if they're slow, like they get blown out, you're like, we sat here for 4 hours for this kid to come in eighth.
Or you're going to watch a 20-lap race, and already in the third lap, your kid is way behind. You're like, I got to sit another 17 laps of this?
True.
Oh, it's the worst.
See, and I swam as a kid, and so that was like bad too. And in indoor swimming, the humidity and it's so hot
compared to the outdoor swimming.
Well, yeah. So it's so hot in there. And so if you're a parent, like obviously I didn't care, I was swimming. But if you're a parent and you're probably just sitting there sweating, and then you come out and it's 6 degrees because it's winter, and you literally watch sometimes you do a 50 free in 30 seconds. And that was what you were doing, and that was it. And the meet took 2.5 hours. Like I always felt bad. I was like, Mom, Dad, don't worry about coming. Like
that sounds pretty miserable.
Yeah, but track might be worse. Like my buddy was telling me last night, there's this big track meet down Tokoi Creek, I think it was. They said that track meet started, I thought he said like around 2 and ended at 1 in the morning. 1 in the morning. So you might be like, it's fun. It's exhilarating for the 30 seconds.
For what?
No, but you got to find the 30 seconds.
Oh my God. I'd rather do a weekend in the drunk tank at JSO's headquarters downtown.
Another one that could be real bad if your kid is trash would be baseball. If you had to watch 9 other kids play baseball.
It could get a little boring and it's long. Yeah,
and like double header day, that's like
but you can't
14 innings.
Quantify it like if your kid's trash. I mean, that's not a good. I'm just talking in sport.
Okay, even if your kid is great and plays right field, he hits 3 times a game, they might not hit the ball to right field.
Dancing and ballet isn't necessarily a sport when little kids do it, but just going to those recitals can be pretty rough too.
I had to do a lot of that with my sisters, man. They're
especially with like you're waiting hours and you're like, when is it going to happen? And then your kid goes. And you turn to your wife and you go, all right, can we go? And they're like, no, you got to wait until it's over. It's the worst.
Also, golf feels like it would be tough.
Yeah, but you can walk at least.
Cool. No, I really want to do that.
That's
but you don't
problem.
like going outside.
Or walking.
But 18 holes?
Yeah, but like,
and think about how many times an 8-year-old's hitting the ball.
That is true. But I would think as a parent, like,
just
at least you're outside listening to birds and stuff like that. I mean,
no, Brad.
There's worse things.
Unbelievable.
Tennis, I think you're wrong on tennis, by the way. Tennis would be fun to watch.
Tennis is awesome watch.
For 8-year-olds?
There's action at least.
Does it ever get over the net?
Of course. What are you talking about?
I disagree.
Kids play tennis. It's fine.
Okay.
And there's action the whole time.
Basically, it's like we've named every sport.
You're
basically saying you wouldn't watch your kid play 2-on-2 basketball. Like, what are you
I think you're
about?
overestimating 8-year-old tennis. Like, there's action in real tennis, not in 8-year-old tennis.
Look, on every single serve, a ball is getting hit.
Into the net, and then somebody has to go pick it up.
Right,
and
but
then
at least there's some action happening. If you're sitting there for cross country, you're waiting until your kid runs a 70-meter dash.
There you go. Cross country.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't even know that it's 70-meter dash. I actually literally just heard of cross country as a real sport for high school a couple of days ago.
Yeah, cross country's running far, so like they shoot the gun, you run, and then they're out of the shot.
Forever.
Well, not really the shot because it's your life, but they're out of view for the next 6 miles.
Maybe it's actually a great thing to watch because as soon as they go, you don't see them again for 20 minutes.
You know those parents be leaving.
And they're coming back. Like they're coming back, and they're like, okay, I finished a couple of chapters in the book. Or
they're like, nah, I got time to get to the Dunkin'. Let's go quickly.
Sitting outside in the Jacksonville heat, waiting for your kid to come around the corner. No, thanks.
Absolutely not.
It is a little different too when it's down here in the heat. That summer stuff, man. It's not. That's why a lot of people like the volleyball. They'll pay that extra $1 to go into that air controlled climate.
You mentioned swimming, Brent. The Mercury.com, which is out of Kansas.
Yeah, sound as old as you can by calling it the Mercury.com.
That's what the website is, themercury.com.
No way.
That's an actual thing.
It's a real website.
Must be old, too.
You made it
Anyway, they did write an old article back in 2018 with a conclusive ranking, the best and worst sports to watch as a parent that your kid is playing. Swimming does come in last. So they rank swimming
the worst of the worst.
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
They said wrestling's pretty bad, too, because of the smell.
What's the top?
Yeah, but wrestling is super energetic.
I got a couple of
meet, man.
I got a couple of brother-in-laws still wrestling right now. It's a lot of fun.
What's the top of the top?
Top of the top is basketball. Nonstop action.
Yeah, I could see that.
Then tennis. Case.
That is so stupid.
You're stupid. How about that? according to themercury.com.
Okay, themercury.com is old as heck. And let's put your kid in tennis, and let's see how fun it is to watch 8-year-olds play tennis.
I would love tennis. I play tennis.
Put him in.
Wife plays tennis.
Sign him up.
I destroyed her the last time we played. Oh, pickleball looked fun, too.
See, that's better for kids because the net's lower and closer to you.
Speaking of sports, guys, I make my basketball debut tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
For the work league.
Yeah, work league.
Yeah.
Can we go film that?
You should, because our best player / coach is sick.
Oh, really?
So I think I now am the best player on the team. No, John is the best player. Big Show is the best player on the team.
He's a Kentucky guy. He better be able to play.
He's pretty good. He can shoot the lights out. I've played with him before.
Shoot the lights out.
Yeah, he can. He's a tall guy.
What does shoot the lights out mean for mid-age men?
7 of 25.
Okay.
I was going to say, gets to 11 in less than an hour and a half.
Yeah. 7 of 25.
It's a 46-minute adventure.
It must have been fun watching Trevor Lawrence play when he was a kid.
Oh, I bet.
He just dominated people.
Just sitting on a throne.
It was fun watching Trevor Lawrence play the last couple of months. What will it be like watching Trevor Lawrence play in 2023? Doug Pederson today at the NFL owners meeting talking about his quarterback and where he can get even better. Cut number 4, Kasey, Doug on Trevor.
I mean, the way he finished the season last year, the way our offense finished, I just look at the way our team finished, and that's something that we can carry into the offseason, something that I'm looking forward to as we get the guys back. But that jump for Trevor, is going to be. He's no longer starting at the ground. He's elevated himself, and so we just start there and we work up, and it's exciting to be able to do that and have the energy that we felt at the end of the season. I think we'll still feel that energy as we head into the offseason program.
So that's Doug Pederson on Trevor, and I think he would go on to say something about how he wants to be great, too, like this will to be great. He's got 5.
I actually think it's kind of funny.
We'll get to it in a minute.
Cool.
I think it's kind of funny or interesting when I hear Doug talk about Trevor, and it happens almost every time now, where I think Doug is trying to do this thing where he dances this fine line between giving Trevor a lot of credit, but also trying to keep him grounded with
I think
words.
that's a great read. I think it's a great read, and I think we saw that last year a lot, right? So even when he would let's just take the Baltimore game. That was when it started, kind of this run, and he really hit a new level coming off the Denver interception in London, all that stuff. If you go back, if we were to cut up sound from those post pressers, it would be very calculated, and careful. To your point, it would kind of like
he gives compliments,
but not like he's the greatest thing ever.
Yes.
And even throughout the season, he would do that before, even on some of the good moments. But then what was interesting is I feel like toward the end of the season, he got very complimentary about him. And especially, obviously against the Chargers, all that stuff to keep breeding his confidence in him. And it was almost at some point, I don't know when that turning point was, but difference between Thanksgiving soundbite from Doug on Trevor to early January soundbite on Trevor was a big gap of careful confidence and praise, and let's not make this all about Trevor, to here's our guy, and that's why we're going to dominate the AFC South for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think you saw that shift a little bit. And to what I was talking about is this willingness for him to get better, right? You can certainly be satisfied as a human being, as an athlete, as a whatever. Does he have that, I want to be great? It's a different to say it. It's another thing to do it. Here is Cut 5, Doug talking about it.
I truly believe that there's so much more for him, and he wants that, and he's willing to do what it takes to work, and that's what you want as the leader of your football team, right? And that rubs off on the rest of your team.
Did we see signs of greatness from him? Because in my mind, this is a lot like last year in trying to process what this year should be satisfying for everybody as fans for the Jacksonville Jaguars and expectations. They surprised us. They skipped a year in the process, in my opinion. So now what is good? Do they have to win a playoff game? We talked about it earlier in the show. How much more do they have to do? Is getting to the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship game, being the best team in the AFC? Where does it fit? I don't know exactly where that fits for each and every fan. We've had some comments on it today. Same thing for Trevor. What's interesting about the satisfaction level and what Trevor did in the last 2 months is, to steal what Kasey would say, he is him, at least in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, big facts.
But there's another level of this, guys. he was supposed to be one of the best prospects to ever come out of the draft, which means greatness potential. Did we see signs of greatness from Trevor last year?
Sure.
That we can now lean on, and what more signs of that will we see to say, hey, we not only have a franchise quarterback in Jacksonville, but we have one of the best players in the National Football League for the next decade.
Look, last year alone, you had 4 fourth-quarter comebacks, 3 of them game-winning drives, one of those in the postseason. Those alone show you a glimpse of greatness, a man poised under pressure, not allowing the deafening sound of the stadium to get at him in a way that is uncontrollable.
And I think you have to put in with the greatness of what happened against the Chargers, the fact that my man's threw it to the other team a bunch of times before that happened.
Lots of
so
times.
The resolve, right? I think I said it after it happened, but if you majorly screw up 4 times in a row at work, are you then coming back and being incredible and fantastic
Calling
at your
it
job?
sick.
You're right, exactly. You're giving up. It's over. After the second time, you're like, hey, I'm calling it.
Giving your notice.
You move on, right? Now, granted, he couldn't give his notice at halftime. He could have pulled Devontae Davis. It would have been weird, but and then you come back and do incredible things. So I think that's just another part of the greatness that I think he has shown and I think will continue to show.
So here's the thing, right? If you go back, and I like doing this just to hold ourselves accountable and to hold everybody accountable what we're saying. There was some doubt, especially after that Denver game. So let's take the first year. We give him a pass because of Urban and all that stuff, and rightfully so. The ability to overcome even the Urban stuff, I think, has impressed people in the building and people around the National Football League to get to a point where he can now progress. Some people said it was a negative, the Urban. Even though he got 17 games played in the NFL, he had to overcome some of that scar tissue. I think that scar stuff is gone. Like, I think if you looked at week 1 of the NFL season last year, I think that scar stuff still was in place because he didn't trust anything. His offensive line wasn't blocking well. He was doing weird stuff, like he was throwing intentional grounding and trying to make these goofy plays. And some people even question the last throw he made. I think it was on 3rd down against Washington. Remember, he was taking a lot of heat for that. So then he throws the 2 interceptions, one against Houston, one against Denver, and we're like, wait a minute now. This guy might he's not be. Yeah. He might not be as good as we all think he is, even though he's got some tools. And see, I thought I saw a bunch of good signs from Trevor, even in those weeks. I thought 3rd down throws, things that they could get out of 2nd and 20, 1st and 15. Like, I thought we were seeing some of these things that he's progressing, and he is a good player, and we haven't seen this in Jacksonville very often. The thing that he was missing, guys, at that point, if you remember, was the play they would talk about on NFL Network and SportsCenter. And then what happened in the last, really, 2 months of the season is he had the 4th quarter against Baltimore. And then he would make this crazy good throw against the Raiders, right? And then he makes the read against whoever on the Zay Jones touchdown. Maybe it was the Cowboys, I think. Like, he starts making these plays, leads these comebacks, does these things that people talk about when they do talk about Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
And then he stiff-armed dude on the Titans.
He did make that play. By the way, he called his own number on that play and made that play.
And the guy cried.
The guy cried. So, and we weren't the ones crying anymore.
Like, it has to count for something. If you make another grown man cry.
There should be a stat line for that.
So, like, if you look at that maturation, right, this isn't just the Chargers game is the point. It's not just a whole 2-month thing. It's really this 2-year cycle of seeing him start to make, like, tremendous plays, like throws that, wow, that's why they said that guy is the number 1 overall prospect or the best prospect since Andrew Luck, all these great things. We saw it. We were like, holy cow, we haven't seen that before in a Jags uniform. Like, you could really say that a bunch of times in the last couple months of the year, and I think even earlier than that at times. Then the San Diego thing happens because that's epic. I mean, nobody does it. Just nobody does it.
You mean the Chargers.
And I'm sorry, it said San Diego.
Los
LA
Angeles,
Chargers.
yeah.
And Kasey just used the word resolve. And
good word.
It's a good word. It's one of the best ones you've used.
Thank you, buddy.
But it's even bigger than that. Like,
I know.
You know, whatever. If there's another word bigger than that, it's that.
I can't
because
help
people don't do it. We still can't find another example of it. We can't find examples of a guy throwing 4 picks in the first 20 minutes of a game, going down 27-0, coming back, probably in any game, never mind being a playoff game.
Legendary.
It's really like you can throw that kind of word about that performance around.
It's 1 of 1.
Yeah.
It will never happen again.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
But right now, it might be a 1 of 1.
I was just looking for the jump off
You needed
point.
to find the guardrails.
Yeah.
I understand.
Like, it
we
might
found
be a
it.
1 of 1 kind of conversation point.
If it was an NFT, there'd only be 1 of them.
Yeah. Be big at Tivoli's House of Cards.
It'd be massive.
So, I don't know where he go. His numbers were good, right? Touchdown to interception.
Good numbers.
He had an historic jump from QB rating year 1 to year 2.
Mm-hmm. Made it to the Pro Bowl.
He did make it to the Pro Bowl.
Kind of, with Tyler Huntley.
So I guess
he made it.
So what I'm trying to get at here is what's next? What's the next phase of this other than winning, keep winning and go Super Bowls and get 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, those pile up those kind of years. What's our next sign of greatness from Trevor?
Personal milestones matter, right? 4,000 yards, 4,500 yards in the air, or 35 touchdowns or single-digit interceptions. Those all matter.
I think they do, and I agree. But I also think you need to be talked about in the way we talked about Jalen Hurts, where his team was 12-1 or whatever they were. And although his numbers were not as good as Mahomes, we talked about him as the MVP. I'm not saying you got to win the MVP. It would be nice. But if you're in the MVP conversation by week 12, 13, 14, 15, it's a good thing.
Yeah. And it could be. I mean, I guess the bottom line is he's got to get off to the fast start, right?
Yeah,
to be in all those kind of things that you guys are talking about.
The team also needs to be number one in the AFC South and not just backing their way into the division. They can't just win it in the last week against the Titans team spiraling out of control.
I used to use this word a lot, and I thought this is something that Blake Bortles, when we had Blake discussions a bunch, which we did a lot, I would use this word that we never got the answer on from him. It never happened, and I think this is why he faded in the NFL. And I would use the word dictate. The good quarterbacks, in my opinion, dictate play. If you watch Aaron Rodgers play the game, he'll dictate whether he wants to quick strike or have a 15-play drive. Peyton Manning would do it. Tom Brady would do it. He'd mix the run in. He'd mix the short pass in. When he needs a quick strike, he'll go get it. The good to great quarterbacks, I should say, dictate that. Now, it's not just on them, but they feel like they're the ones doing it. Right? When my defense has been on the field and I'm going to pick these guys apart, make these throws, mix in the run. It's going to be a 12-minute drive. Give these guys a break.
So instead of the defense allowing you to do something, you're deciding what the pace and momentum is.
You're deciding the pace, the rhythm, the execution, because you know what's up. You know everything about them. And we never got to that point again with Blake in 2018 because I remember kind of thinking that was the next step. Can they dictate on offense to play? All they did was dictate that they could run the football in 17 and that they could really play defense. But that's not how the great teams sustain it and do it. The great quarterbacks are the ones that dictate. If you think of the names that I just threw out at you, those guys dictate play.
It's almost as if they're managing the opponent's clock for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And because of that, you game plan. Yeah. When you would play Peyton Manning, there were times you didn't know it, but you might play Peyton Manning and there would only be 8 possessions in a game because today he was going to really melt the whole clock and have 16-play drives that went for 10 minutes. I'm not saying that's what it takes all the time to dictate play, but I think that means getting on top early, right? Fast starts to the year, to games, and you're the one controlling it. And now you let your defense eat a little bit more because keep in mind, there was still a part of the Jags defense that couldn't pass rush as well in the first half of the year because, quite frankly, they weren't ahead.
Yeah.
You got to be ahead to pass rush.
Yeah, you do.
And they got better at it in the second half of the year, because they had more leads. But even then, they were still coming back from 17-point down in a few of those games.
Yes.
So that's my I guess I'll go back to the word dictate. The great ones dictate play. And can he and Doug Pederson and this offense do that early in the year, early in games? And I'm telling you, if they do that, they're going to make Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd and Josh Allen and Cisco and the rest of those guys a hell of a lot better for it. Because then they can pin their ears back and go make plays. And then the last part of it is, but he proved it in the Chargers game, and he's proved it a couple of times, Baltimore game. Can you keep getting the wins late? Right? You've got to be that guy that every time you get the ball late, they think you're going to win the game.
It sounds almost like it's the same thing. Every time you have the ball, can you move at will? Is it your decision or the defense's decision?
Yeah. Because I think Joe Burrow, I think Aaron Rodgers, I think even Justin Herbert, when they get the ball back with 140 to go and they need 60 yards to either get in field goal range or a touchdown, we think it's going to happen.
Yes.
It might not happen all the time, but we think it's going to happen.
Yes.
We would bet on it. Can we get to the point in Jacksonville where Trevor, every time he's got the ball in that situation, you're betting on it's going to happen? And maybe we get there this year. That's the next level of greatness for Trevor Lawrence for me. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mild overnight into partly cloudy skies, dropping into the 60s. Clouds will increase and thicken with scattered showers and storms for your Tuesday. Have an umbrella nearby with highs around 80. From the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Now get 0% interest for 5 years with nothing down.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Are you ready for a great deal? Do you have your heart set on a new Toyota? Then go to the Ready, Set, Go sales event happening now at Arlington Toyota. Of course, at Arlington, you get Ready, Set, Go deals and more, like 30 days to love your new purchase or exchange it. Plus, every new Toyota comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. But you better shop now before Ready, Set, Go is gone. Don't wait. Shop in person and online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can trade in any brand water softener and receive $750 towards a new Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Nice run. It's great being back out on the mountain. You sort of disappeared for a while. Everything okay?
Between you and me, it was lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah. The doc told me once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to stay in shape. That's why I started taking Nugenix Total T. It's made a huge difference.
Oh, I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
For sure. It's the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster. It boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. My wife, my boss, my kids. Everyone has noticed a change in me.
Do they still give out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yes, just send them a text.
Guys, text HATCH to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC and Walmart. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back in shape fast, absolutely free. Text HATCH to 321-321. That's HATCH to 321-321.
Yes, we do have availability. Those dates for how many guests?
Andrea's Boutique Hotel is the destination to tie the knot.
Oh, you want the whole property?
She needs an assistant to catch the bookings bouquets.
249 guests, huh? Oh, and 3 dogs.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America N.A.
Listen to ESPN 690 anytime, anywhere, on any device. Whether you're at home or on the go, get the latest on the Jags, FSU, the Jumbo Shrimp, and Action Sports Jacks on Odyssey.com. That's AUDACY.com or on ESPN690.com.
Brent Friends, ESPN 690.
He's rattled. He's rattled.
I'm not rattled. I was debating whether where to go next.
He's rattled.
I got tweets.
Oh, we got tweets. Let's do tweets.
You want to do tweets? Let's do them.
I got Charles Barkley. I haven't talked enough about.
Yeah, we really haven't done any of these
Doug
Barkley
cuts,
cuts.
though. We did March Madness. We got another mock draft. We can do that tomorrow.
Look how proud he is. He's like, we did all the Doug cuts, though.
We did do all the Doug cuts.
I know we
Some
did.
of these Barkley cuts are actually pretty cool.
I think tomorrow we'll get into more like we're the owners.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yeah.
And we're making decisions.
Yeah.
Tomorrow on the show.
All right, I like that.
All right?
Bring a couple of the things that they're debating.
Yeah.
And we'll figure that out.
Fire his ass, Daniel Snyder.
Cool.
Right? We all in agreement? Good.
Sure.
Kasey, we'll keep Daniel Snyder.
Meeting adjourned.
No, I wasn't going to keep him. Just
You know all the lingo, Brent. You could be an owner.
So, yeah, we'll get to that one tomorrow. We got to save stuff. Got a busy week ahead.
I wonder if that means you don't want to read this first tweet.
Hey, no, we can do that. The big story we should remind people though, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and we do talk a little bit about that in a second.
Because he's going to be the dominating story now for the next month,
and should be biggest name not attached to a team right now.
Does your tweet have anything to do with the Robert Kraft stuff?
No. If you want to go there, though, we can.
But Robert Kraft said something about Meek Mill texted him a few times saying Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, this is breaking news.
Wants to be
head of the Patriots scouting department. Meek Mill has reached out to Robert Kraft.
But obviously, this got brought up by Kraft. Unless somebody was asking and knew Meek Mill.
No, this is Robert Kraft.
So he brings it up and he says, "Well, I'll leave that up to Belichick."
I think it's a flex by Robert.
And then he also said Mac Jones, he loves him and they need to do more. They made a mistake with him last year.
Sure, which they did.
So that's what else is coming out of the owners' meetings. And then tomorrow on the show, we'll talk a little bit more about San Francisco 49ers' inability to actually find a quarterback on their own without getting lucky.
What are you talking about?
We do have a tweet about that as well, if you want to do it.
All right, give us some tweets.
Maybe we should just go to the tweets. Yeah.
The San Francisco Gate tweets this. 49ers general manager John Lynch told reporters at the NFL owners meeting that the team hopes Brock Purdy will be back for training camp. I guess my question to you guys is it set in stone? Obviously, Kasey believes – thanks, bud. I appreciate the support. Obviously, Kasey believes Brock Purdy is QB1 in San Francisco, but you still have a whole Trey Lance sitting on that bench, and you just signed a whole Sam Darnold as well. Do you think there's any shot whatsoever you see Brock Purdy to start the season in San Francisco?
This is like a team of my people. Trey Lance got a lot of his cards. Brock Purdy, love him. Sam Darnold got a jersey.
Love Sammy D.
This is my people.
The story, though, is that John Lynch apparently said
he's going to be ready by the start of the season. If
Purdy's ready, he's probably in the driver's seat to be the guy.
Right. And so, I'm sitting here going, what? Trey Lance has zero trade value at this point.
Keep the bench warm.
How do you get rid of him?
Keep it warm.
I just don't understand.
Nah, you could trade him.
You just throwing in the towel on this guy? It's over?
I know you love Purdy.
Love him.
But you also want your cards to do well because you have 500 of Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Purdy ain't making you any money. Trey Lance is.
All right, but independent of Kasey's fandom, the Niners spent a high pick on this dude.
Oh, yeah. No. This is the other thing. I can't believe that just because he loves Purdy, he won't hammer the 49ers for their inability to. I mean, they just get lucky. Like I said, are they good talent evaluators at the QB spot? If you were really good, you wouldn't have been trying to get rid of Jimmy G, and you wouldn't have picked Mr. Irrelevant to be your starting guy in 2023.
I mean, they legit bungled the position 3 times in the last 2 years.
They gave away the farm to get Trey Lance, and now they're not even going to play him?
They don't want him.
They gave away the farm before they knew about Brock Purdy and before he was draft eligible.
Still, they were going to play Jimmy Garoppolo over this kid.
Listen, they should trade Trey Lance. You're not going to get back the 3rd pick. It's not how this works. Get a 2nd or 3rd. Call it a day. Run out there with Brock Purdy.
They would be out of their mind.
Insane.
To trade Trey Lance.
So just sit him?
Yeah.
You're not going to get any value for him.
Because, listen, I know you love Brock Purdy.
We don't know if Trey Lance is good either.
We don't. But the bottom line is, I messed it up and got lucky. And so I'm not going to go trade away a guy now that Jimmy G's gone and not have a backup option if Purdy was just this one shining moment for a couple of months.
You mean
Darnold?
No, he means a long-term backup.
Yeah,
Darnold is the bridge, right? But, like, if Purdy doesn't work out, this 7th-round pick who may not work out, like, what is the future plan? You're not doing it in the draft. You have no draft picks.
Okay, so how long is this plan?
A year.
So you said Trey Lance a whole year. You pulled a Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And he'll be in his, 4th year next year?
Yes.
3rd.
No, this is 3rd this year.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
He'll
thought
be
you
going
meant this
into
year.
his 4th.
Yeah, so you're going to have to decide on that 5th-year option with maybe a year or less under his belt if that's the case.
It's going to be 4 games.
Okay, but let me ask you this, guys. What's the difference? Like, how much more or less of a believer is a team going to be that's trading with you this summer versus next summer or next March?
Depends how much action he gets, right?
Well, or maybe not. Like, so let's just say it's neutral. He's coming off injury right now, and he hasn't played much, and you don't know. You just don't know.
So you're saying this season he plays 0 games?
Like Josh Rosen, he was a little bit like this. He didn't play a lot, and then he was gone. Well, that's because they went in a complete opposite direction, had no faith in him, and so they got rid of him, even though he was the number 1 pick.
Also, they had the opportunity for the literal
go get the number 1 pick, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if Trey Lance is that. I don't know if anybody believes like he's a terrible quarterback. I also don't know if anybody believes he's a good quarterback. I just don't know if people know. Well, and that's not going to change in the next calendar year if you do play Brock Purdy. But my point for San Francisco is you keep Lance in case Purdy really was a one shining moment guy for 7 games. And he really is more Mr. Irrelevant than he is undefeated QB.
I'm not sitting here saying Josh Rosen had enough time to show whether he had it or not. But at least he started 13 games in his rookie year.
Yeah, well, I think what it told, like, they were willing to move on after 13 games, so it actually red flagged a lot of teams.
Yes.
Like, San Francisco's in a different situation. The guy's been hurt. They had Jimmy G. Brock Purdy comes in and is like, wow, who's this guy? So they've got a bunch of different scenarios going on why you might not keep Trey Lance, different than the Rosen situation.
You're right. But you do have this long line of analysts and game film watchers who are looking at Trey Lance going, this guy doesn't have it.
Yeah, I don't know if he has it or not. I just don't think I would move on from him because I think you're going to get the same thing from him 10 months later.
Yeah.
And I want a backup plan.
I don't think you're getting the same thing 10 months later.
I'm with Brent on this only because whatever you're getting back for Trey Lance, a 6th, if that.
No way.
Or a 5th.
No way.
He's got no trade value right now. You're whatever you're getting, Case, you're getting less than what you paid for him to bring him onto the team.
You're never getting the 3rd pick.
So
in the draft back.
you might as well hold on to him until you can grab to generate more value. I'm looking at Zach Wilson saying the same thing. Like, it's almost more expensive for them to try and trade him or cut him than it is to just let him sit on the bench and see what happens.
No, you're not gaining any value there. And if you sit him on the bench a whole year, what that says is he's not good enough to beat out Brock Purdy. So now you lose even more value. Now you currently don't know if he's good enough to beat out Brock Purdy. So that's why there's more value there. And next year you're going to have teams that want Drake May and Caleb Williams.
And won't get them.
Well, 2 teams will.
No, but my point is, like, you'll have teams jockeying for position there, and there's only 2 spots.
Right, but I'm saying if you could convince one of those bad teams now, like if the Ravens trade Lamar.
That's where I was going.
You go and you're like, hey, we got this guy.
That makes sense.
And that might be a good deal for the Ravens. First of all, they're not going to pay $200 million to Lamar, and they might get a guy that's pretty good. We just don't know.
Yeah, could develop into an actual good quarterback.
Be interesting to see. But I think they should keep both guys in San Francisco.
Couldn't get through one of these segments without a Dove tweet, so let's do that real quick before we go to break. Chargers have initiated or engaged quarterback Justin Herbert about contract extension. Discussions are ongoing. Do you guys think Herbert could become the first NFL player to sign a contract with a total value of $500 million? Do we think Herbert is the first guy?
I thought Mahomes was that. No?
450 for Mahomes.
Oh, it was?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Is Herbert the first? Or is Burrow going to be the first?
I don't know. Who's gonna sign first?
It's whoever gets it done
Is
first.
Trevor going to be the first $500 million guy?
It will not be Trevor.
It's going to be one of these two guys.
It will be
Why?
Herbert or Burrow because they get to do it first.
Yeah, but they don't have to do it this year. This is the first year they're allowed to do it.
But this is the year they're going to probably do it. It's just going to get more expensive. So why wouldn't you do it now?
It's a good point, but if you're one of the quarterbacks, I'm not in a rush.
Well, I am to make a $500 million.
But it could be 600 in
I'll make
another
$500
year.
million right now.
I'd rather hold the $500 million than have the other team hold it. Yeah, I would do. I think, it's very interesting about these two players is you're talking about two organizations that historically have been cheap and hard to make deals.
Oh, yeah.
Bengals, the Bengals, and I asked somebody recently, I was like, is the Bengals thing legit? And they're like, yeah.
But they're spending now. They've given this dude tools, and they're paying top of the market prices on some of these offensive linemen. Like, they're trying out there. I don't see it from the Chargers.
Well, the Chargers even had trouble getting Joey Bosa in camp, which is very unusual now to have a
high draft pick that
you can't sign. But the offset language, there was stuff there. If you remember, I don't know if they had a recent problem. It's very interesting that these two quarterbacks obviously are the next to get paid. They're going to get paid handsomely. But the ownership and the teams and the franchises haven't been that great to do business with over the years, and they have a reputation for not being great to do business with.
And to the Chargers' point, they paid both their wide receivers in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and then all the talk that they were going to throw Keenan Allen out the building because they just couldn't afford to do it, and now they're talking about keeping him, but they restructured him. And then suddenly Austin Eckler comes through, and he's like, hey, what about me, guys? And now there's a struggle there. So,
well, when he says, what about me, they say, what about Justin? Yeah. That's what they say.
For real.
That's all they really should be concerned about. Let's take a break. When we come back, we put a bow on the show. Maybe what we learned today.
Oh, I got to write something then.
And Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton on deck. No gate fees coming up at 7 o'clock. We ask about the title of the show today. Do you have a problem paying to watch your kids play sports?
Big problem.
And he doesn't even have kids.
Ain't no kids.
That's at 7 o'clock on all the ESPN 690 platforms. We'll be back.
Those are restraining order.
Kids.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet. Now open in St. Augustine.
Are you getting engaged? Celebrating an anniversary or birthday?
You're in luck. It's Beards Diamond's most exceptional finance offer of the year.
5 years, 0% financing with nothing down.
Yes, shop Beards Diamond's everyday low price on anything in the store or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Then divide your total price by 60, and that's your monthly payment with absolutely nothing down.
How about a $6,000 three-stone designer setting?
You pay only $100 a month.
Or a $4,500 1-carat diamond solitaire pendant necklace.
You pay just $75 a month.
And every purchase at Beards Diamonds is backed by our free lifetime warranty.
Now you can go bigger.
And get her the diamond ring she's always dreamed about.
And spread your payments out for 5 years and pay absolutely nothing in interest.
All GIA certified diamonds and lab-grown diamonds are included in this spectacular offer.
But hurry, Beards Diamond's incredible 5 years interest-free financing with nothing down is only available for a limited time.
Shop now at beardsdiamonds.com or the St. John's Town Center.
Don't buy anywhere until you shop Beards Diamonds.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate allows you to skip the hassle and get your home sold fast and stress-free. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry, so you can sell your home stress-free, make the most money, and move when you're ready. One of our clients, Danielle, said, I can't say enough good things about Mark Spain Real Estate. Their guaranteed offer made selling my home so easy. I highly recommend them to anyone interested in selling their home. Don't worry about the hassle of constant cleaning and making costly repairs. There are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. I've been in business for nearly 30 years and have served over 50,000 satisfied clients. And I know what matters most, a quick sale and maximum profit. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. Sell your home fast with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Certain restrictions apply.
The following message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
It was an opportunity for me to put everything I was as a person into work.
They have so much to offer, and they need to be respected and taken care of and listened to.
Being an ombudsman gives me that opportunity to pay it forward.
For more information, go to ombudsman.elderaffairs.org. That's ombudsman.elderaffairs.org.
The spring season on the campus of the University of North Florida is in full swing. A busy time to swoop baseball, softball, tennis, beach volleyball, track and field. Something for everyone at UNF. Find the schedules, results, the stories of the student athletes, and buy tickets at unfospreys.com. There are some fun things happening on the campus of the University of North Florida. You can also check out the strategic plan of the future for UNF athletics. It's all at unfospreys.com. Swoop with the Ospreys at UNF.
Hubbard House is the domestic violence center that serves Duval and Baker counties, providing free, confidential, caring resources for survivors and their children. 24-hour support is available at 904-354-3114. Survivor, you are not alone. Hubbard House is here for you. Call 904-354-3114.
Hey, it's Brent Mortno from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. All right, so Friday I wasn't on the show, right? Because I was playing chauffeur to Ocala.
Sure.
Like method acting, though.
Yeah. We thought we'd try to embarrass the girls. They kind of liked it. They weren't embarrassed.
Nice job.
They were fun. We had a good time.
I bet it was.
Did they win?
They won 3 out of 4.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Didn't really play that great.
But they won 3 out of 4.
But they won 3 out of 4.
Nice. Good for them.
As my buddy would say, man, it's kind of hard on them. I was like, well, just telling you the facts. Like, they didn't really play that great.
Ain't that like 75%?
But 3 out of 4 is pretty good. Could have easily been 1 and 3.
I tell my kids when they lose that they don't get the ride home. They got to walk.
So we're actually on the way home from Ocala, right? It's like a 2-hour drive. And something hits me. They're all on Snapchat.
I thought it was another car.
No, nothing hit. Not that didn't hit me.
It's like,
But- So I'm like, just whatever, driving, and they're all on. So there's not a lot of noise in the car because they're always on Snapchat. That's what all the kids do. Like even when they're right next to each other, and they might say something here or there. It's a laugh here or there. Or
Do you ever
whatever.
think they're doing it to hide what they're talking about from you in the moment?
I don't know. I don't know, but maybe they are. But here's the funny observation that I made that I had never made before in my life. That this is what Snapchat does. All of a sudden, there's dead silence in the car, and then you'll hear 3 girls just giggle all at the same time. And I even said it to them. I was like, you guys are all laughing at the same Snapchat obviously coming in. Because Kasey just said he was in a group chat and he just laughed out loud.
Yeah.
And that's what he got me thinking about it. So, like, you know, if you and I are in a group chat, we're in different places, right? So we might laugh, but you don't know I laughed.
Right.
These kids are all in the same spot and they're all laughing at the same time. Like, my guess is, like, in a class, if you're teaching, all of a sudden people might laugh in class because they're on their phone, and all getting the same Snapchat that they find funny.
It could happen.
It was this weird experience.
It almost sounds like you're describing my last trip to the dermatologist's office. We're all sitting there in silence. Then I turn around and suddenly all 3 of the girls in the office are giggling at me. Like, what? Don't mind me. I need some sun.
It's just a different world, man.
A little bit.
Not you.
Oh.
The kids. Snapchat has changed everything. Do you use Snapchat?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you?
For what?
For what?
Like, for what?
What do you use it for?
I'll be honest. I got back onto Snapchat after being off of Snapchat for a while because my daughter had asked about Snapchat. Just like you were dealing with these questions, I was dealing with these questions. And I wanted to see how easy or hard it was for her to get into some trouble. And I told her she's not allowed to go on Snapchat.
Because of
It's a
the
dangerous
trouble?
place, yes.
Kasey, do you use Snapchat?
Not anymore.
Like, I have a serious question. Do adults, on a regular basis? I'm not saying do adults have Snap. Like, I have Snapchat, too, but I never go on it.
There's no way you
go on it. Yeah.
Do people
go to your messages.
Regularly use
I'll go to my messages. What about it?
Apparently on Snapchat, they have like a score, like a grade or something.
Yeah, you get a score for who you snap with. So you get a sign like, oh, this is your best Snap friend.
Like, so I have friends that are my age, well over the Snapchat age, that still post on their story, letting other people know what's up.
So they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some real loser friends, though. I can start naming them if you want.
Like I have
you got uncomfortable last time.
I have no idea. I just don't have. Like, if you're 35, do you use Snapchat?
No.
40,
It's a kid's thing. It's for teenagers.
Like it's all.
It
I
should
mean,
be
90%.
Yeah, there are other people who aren't teenagers. There are other people who aren't girls,
course,
but it's mostly girls and teenagers.
You
I don't
should
think
be
it's
cut
mostly
off
girls.
at 25.
No, I don't think it's mostly girls.
For the young guys, it's only teenagers. For girls, I think they stick with it a little past that.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a heavy female-dominated platform.
What did we learn today?
Yeah, that's what
Snapchat.
I learned. I did. I learned some things.
I know. I'm just trying to move it along.
What did you learn today?
I learned a couple of things. I learned that based on what he wrote in the chat, Delphonic thought the Torture Museum was the ESPN studios. Right here. Palatial ESPN 690 studios. I learned that Creighton's in Omaha, Nebraska.
Dang it.
The bastion of the Big East.
Kasey.
That was mine.
I learned South Beach gets even harder to understand when Miami wins. I thought that was impossible. It's almost like his subtitles need subtitles. It's confusing.
Double subtitles.
Mine was seriously the Nebraska thing.
Well, maybe you should come up with a different answer.
Mine was the Snapchat stuff.
I don't learn a lot.
Brent, I'll show you my Snapchat
don't
when we get
learn a
off the
lot.
air. That's fine.
You won't on the air, though?
No.
Oh.
Hey, here's one thing that's goofy, too. You know this whole Lamar Jackson thing?
Cool.
Who's that?
You know, you said like the NFL can fine teams if they negotiate with
with an agent that's not certified.
Not certified. It's only a $47,000 fine.
That was the other thing.
It's like, so what?
I think I highlighted that. I'm like, this is nonsense.
I know. Like $47,000 is a lot of money to us, folks, but not to NFL teams.
The Dolphins gave up a first-round pick to give Tom Brady a winky face emoji in a text message. But they're not going to risk $47,000 to hammer out a deal with the best free agent quarterback we've seen in years. It's insane. The whole thing's insane.
I mean, Tom was.
Well, I was going to say Tom Brady was a free agent, so settle down. But
wait, you're telling me 44-year-old Tom Brady better free agent than 26-year-old Lamar?
Apparently, he won a Super Bowl the next year
with a great team. Oh my God, is this for real?
The
Kasey?
show. Yes,
Kasey.
I'm with Tom Brady. The show is over.
Kasey's with me. He can talk more about it. What?
It's insane.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton up next. No gate fees at 7 o'clock. We'll see you then.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can trade in any brand water softener and receive $750 towards a new Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Are you a real estate investor or have considered investing and want to know where you can put your money that offers solid returns and protects against market volatility? It's Rich Jones. I want to introduce you to DLP Capital, CEO and founder Don Wenner.
For more than a decade, DLP Capital has delighted our investors with consistent double-digit returns. Through the smart, conservative real estate investment strategy our company is built on, we have been able to achieve this with monthly distributions and tax shelters so our investors can keep more of their returns.
Dial ** invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
You ready? Then get set and go to the Ready, Set, Go event, even on pre-owned at Arlington Toyota. That's all makes, all models, all colors, shapes, and sizes, all specially priced during the Ready, Set, Go event at Arlington Pre-Owned. Plus, our friends over at Arlington give you 30 days to love your pre-owned purchase or exchange it. With over 400 pre-owned on the lot, you better get Ready, Set, Go to Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Lowe's MVP's bonus days are back for pros. Right now, buy a DeWalt 20-volt Max Power Stack Battery 2-pack at $199 and get a select DeWalt Bear tool free. Plus, earn 3 times the bonus points on all Metabo HPT tools and products. Shop even more savings and bonus points offers during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid 3/20 through 3/31. Subject to change. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. Visit Lowes.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
What's up? It's Kasey. Check out the podcast Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, wherever you get your podcasts.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Quarterback Lamar Jackson has left no doubt what he wants. Today he tweeted he requested a trade from the Ravens March 2nd. On March 7th, Baltimore put the non-exclusive franchise tag on the former NFL MVP. Jackson wants out, but there's a reason that trade request can't be granted at this moment, explains ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Lamar Jackson can't be traded until he signs the franchise tender. He's not going to sign the franchise tender unless he knows there's somebody who's willing to pay him, because if he signs it, then he has to start showing up to all team activities.
Adam Schefter on Fitz and Harry. North Carolina star guard Caleb Love plans to enter the transfer portal. He's the biggest name in the transfer portal to date. Texas hired interim coach Rodney Terry as its new full-time men's basketball coach. He gets a 5-year deal. NBA 76ers center Joel Embiid with that calf issue out tonight against the Nuggets, according to ESPN's Ramona Shelburne and Adrian Wojnarowski. James Harden back for Philly after missing 3 games with a sore Achilles. Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo, Andrew Holiday, both out tonight against the Pistons.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier to help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
As parents, we all want to ensure that our children are safe, secure, and healthy starting day one. Please make sure your newborn is sleeping safely. Visit wolfsandchildrens.com/safe sleep for infant safety tips. That's wolfsandchildrens.com/safe sleep.
Natalia, solid dismount, but that little pause is a deduction.
Top tumblers hope to stick the landing with Coach Jasmine.
That aerial sequence still needs work.
She needs more certified athletic trainers to find her balance.
Focus. I'm going to need you for the all-around. Wait, who's spotting the vault?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
This is Sam, and he changed my life. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, Please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about the Pups for Patriots service dog program.
A message from American Humane.
You have the golf fever now, no doubt about it. The Players' Championship in the rear view, and it's on to Augusta and the Masters, the first major of the year. Well, you probably want to get out and play, like the pros do. Well, don't play golf in Jacksonville without the Dream 18 card. Save on greens fees on some of the best golf courses in the area. Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, The Yards, Amelia River Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club. Buy it now for just $69. Save hundreds of dollars at Action Sports Jacks. Dream18.com.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart savings strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council. Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Well, just as we predicted, FAU in the Final Four, just like we drew it up. Brian, I'm not going to lie. For a second there, before the game tipped off, I thought we were going to win the bracket challenge. We both had Gonzaga as a winner in my bracket challenge, and everybody else was pretty much out. I thought we had a chance. And then they started playing basketball. And then we had no chance. That was awful from Gonzaga. I texted you. I said, hey, they need you in uniform. Can you grab a board, then put on a jersey?
What's the NIL looking like for a one-game, for a 10-day contract?
Hey, you turn that thing around and win that game, the NIL is massive.
I got some eligibility left.
Just grab a board, though. You know what I'm saying? That was brutal. Anyway, just as we drew it up, FAU and UConn and San Diego State.
Do you see the stat? Did you guys talk about that during Brent Friends?
I don't know. What's the stat?
The ESPN bracket challenge, 20+ million brackets, 37 had those.
I don't believe that 37 had that.
Yeah, I don't
There's
believe it
not
either.
a chance.
Yeah. I need evidence, but
I mean,
what's wrong? Who hurt you to have that as your Final Four? You feel what I'm saying? You got to go through something to have FAU, Miami, maybe not UConn, okay?
Yeah.
San Diego State.
I'm with you.
I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a 30 for 30 decades down the line because something ain't right about this. I said it.
With the bracket? Like the people that had them? Like you're saying there's conspiracy there?
No, with
or
the
the
teams that we
actual
have.
basketball. Okay, you're mad about the basketball. So that's the question.
You know I'm down on college basketball anyway. Men's, not the ladies because the Gamecocks,
Yeah, so.
They moving. But go ahead.
Are you, by the way, this is Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah, I like that.
I hadn't said that yet. Brian Middleton's the broadcast on. I'm Kasey Kurtz. But we move on and go back to this. Is it a good? Are you happy with this? Like, I know you're not the biggest college basketball guy anyway, but are you more intrigued to watch because it's 4 teams that you never would have picked? Or would you have been more intrigued to watch if it was Gonzaga, Kentucky, Duke, Kansas? Like, what for you makes you watch?
They have to hope. I get it. You want Cinderella stories. You have to hope. This is no knock on these two programs. You have to hope that it's not San Diego State and Florida Atlantic. You got to hope it. One of the two, sure. Both of them, no.
Well, I mean, it will be one of the two because they're playing in the matchup. They're playing in the first game. That can't be the championship.
Oh, that's how close I looked at it. But my point is this, Kasey. Storylines work well, right? Because you get things like the FAU program. I don't want to say trash, but, they didn't have a lot of success, if any, if you're going by the measuring stick of March Madness. San Diego State, they have a nice little uptick in that program being put together. Miami, NIL dealing out here. I'm not mad at it. Make it happen. And then UConn, who, they are one of those guys or one of those teams, those programs that you look at that's just like, okay, hey. I would put them up, even though they've, I don't want to say faltered, but they have that star burning so bright to where you always would assume they'd be a number 1 seed, number 2 seed, number 3 seed. Hasn't been the case. Arguably the past decade at the very least, right? But I can remember a time where that was the case. And you think about some of the great players that came out of there. But I got to tell you, man, I'm not high on this Final Four. I'm not high on these matchups. I get the storyline angle, but the way that this is kind of just coming to fruition, I'm just like, I guess that these 4 teams right here have gotten hot at the right time. They put it all together at the right time, and that's a part of the actual sport. That's a part of the entirety of the season, the playoffs, and which teams can not peak too soon. I get that. But looking at this Final Four, save for UConn, I'm just like, well, the regular season, all 30-plus games that they play in the regular season, didn't waste any time not watching them. Not watching them in its entirety. Of course, I caught bits and pieces of teams that are not in the Final Four.
Sure.
But, what's the point? What's the point in putting in all of that work for this? And this is different than the NFL, where you're like, oh, you got great teams that don't make it all the time. By the way, both of the 1 seeds made it, but that doesn't always happen when you're talking about the Super Bowl in the NFL.
Sure.
But the difference is this right here. More times than not in football, because you have more than 10, 11, 12 guys in a rotation of maybe 5, maybe 6 or 7 if you're really deep in comparison to basketball, whether it be the NBA or college. In the NFL, in college football, I got 50-plus guys. I got 70, 80-plus guys. And I've out-recruited you. I've out-NIL dealed you.
Sure.
The talent is going to wear you out. Here, we've seen the talent. Granted, Florida Atlantic had a good season. I look at it more often. All 4 of these teams had good seasons. You feel what I'm saying? There's nobody here that was 14 and 15 and came through as the play-in, the first 4-in play-in game.
Sure.
But if I'm Alabama, if I'm Houston, if I'm Gonzaga, I guess, you know what I'm saying? If I'm one of these guys, Texas, I'm just like, well, I guess, as long as my NIL check cashes. The regular season is insignificant. And that's a part of it that makes me it makes it not as enjoyable to watch.
So, a couple thoughts. The regular season is not insignificant to a team like Florida Atlantic, who has to win their conference to get in. Those type of schools, it does matter. But for the majority of the schools you're talking about, you can only win only one team can win the SEC. But you're still going to get Missouri and Texas A&M and Mississippi State, these teams that are going to get in, right? So on that level, I do understand what you're saying. But going back to the 4 teams that are in it, and the point you were making a little bit, and I said this way a few hours ago on Brent Friends, but do I believe that Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, Miami, or UConn, do I believe that one of those 4 schools and teams are the best men's college basketball team in the country this season? I do not. I believe they're still playing, and I believe one of them will be crowned champion, but I do not believe if you lined up one of these 4 schools against Alabama with Brandon Miller 10 times, I do not believe they win more times than Alabama would win. So that's the part that at least I struggle with here, because I do not believe the best team that played men's college basketball this year will win the title. But I do believe that whichever of these 4 teams ends up winning it will be well deserving of winning it. You can pick any of these schools. UConn, what they've gone through. Florida Atlantic, absolutely deserving, starting as a 9 seed and just straight winning after winning 30 games in the regular season. Miami, well deserving, San Diego State, a team I ain't picked to win a game in 2 different brackets. From the beginning and then the second chance bracket, I didn't pick San Diego State to win a game either time, and they're in the Final Four. And will be the favorite against Florida Atlantic because they're playing Florida Atlantic. So the winner will be deserving. I just don't think the winner will be the best college basketball team, men's college basketball team that played this year.
But now, and then good point, I'm just going to jump back in.
Yeah.
Insignificant strength of schedule, Kasey. Here we go.
Okay.
Kansas, number 1 overall.
Sure.
Texas, number 2 overall. Alabama, number 3 overall. The Baylor Bears, number 4 overall. UConn was 8th. You want to know what FAU was? Take a guess.
I mean, probably 80-something.
94.
Yeah.
San Diego State, 59. Not mad at those teams, and I'm not mad at those kids on those teams. But when I say insignificant, that's what I mean. If I'm Alabama, I'm only going to play the tough teams in my conference from here on out. Like, why even chance it? Like, why even I don't even want the seeding, to be real with you. I know seedings, people want that. They think it's an easier setup. Maybe, but why? Why even chance it now? I don't. So that's what I mean by insignificant. Not necessarily your point is noted about FAU. Like, they needed that, and then they needed to continue to be on a roll to get to where they're at. So, yes, in that sense, it's not at all. It's very significant. But 94. Okay. All right.
What's your beef with 94? What's the – I understand what you're saying. I want to know what your beef is with it because, yes, they did not play a tough regular season schedule because of their conference. That's fair. But they beat Kansas State, who made Kansas's strength of schedule be tough. They beat Tennessee, Fairleigh Dickinson, okay, I'll give it to you. And they beat Memphis, all good teams. So what is the beef with that strength of schedule part of it?
The beef is we can say that we have a fair shot when you're talking about a one and done. But if you're telling me that all I have to do is make sure, like, forget what we're doing from October to or whenever they start their preseason, workouts or whatever, forget all that. And all I got to make sure that I do is just survive in a one or done sudden death. Like,
okay,
I as a blue blood or a top 10 team, like, I mean, I guess I can do it for the experience, like how, UNF does, and they go and play anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Yep.
And, we were talking to, I think it was, I can't remember which player it was that came on about
Jose
a month and a half
Placier.
ago. Yeah. He was talking about, yeah, man, it's a mindset. It helps us get better for conference play. I get that aspect, but I can do that with clearly a less tough schedule. And what comes with a less tough schedule? Maybe your legs are a little bit better. Now, this is me just kind of spitballing for a second, so, bear with me. But my overall point is I don't have a problem with Florida Atlantic because you have to win once you get into the actual game.
Tournament, which they have.
But that's the big difference. If college basketball wants to emulate or get these kids even more prepared for potentially getting to the next level, make it a best of 3. I know you can't do that with 68 teams. You'd be there forever and a day. I get that. But, that would be a fairer representation of who's actually the better team.
Yes.
Because basketball is just different than football. That football is always a one and done, like a sudden type deal. To me, I'm going to keep ranting. So go ahead, take it back over, Kasey.
No, I understand what, you're right, to get the best team to be the champion, to come to the forefront, yes, you would have to play a series. But it just ain't going to happen. You know what I mean? So I do understand that point of it, and I think you have to understand what this is. This is teams that went on a run in the tournament. I'm okay with it. I think most people are. Outside of people that are fans of Alabama or fans of Kansas, I think you're fine with how this played out. You obviously are not. But, if you're not a fan of one of the blue blood programs, you're like, hey, you know what? This is fun. Do I truly, in my heart, believe that San Diego State, if they win the title, would beat Alabama 6 out of 10 times? No. Or Kansas? No, I don't. But this is what we got. And it is, without a doubt, the most fun tournament to decide anything because of the one-game part of it, because anybody can win. and because you now have such good athletes in college and in the professional level that teams like Florida Atlantic have good basketball players. And if given the opportunity,
that's not what's happening.
They can win games.
That's not what it is.
So what's happening?
This is not a knock. Again, one more time. Yes, they have supreme athletes if you can make it to collegiate sports. Like you're better than most people in the world. Like that's just the facts. This is a big deal of continuity in NIL. And I don't know the entire makeup of Florida Atlantic, but I can assure you, this is going to happen more and more where you don't have even a top 3 team, top 3 seed in the Final Four because of the one and done rule in NIL. And the teams that can either recruit like just amazingly with their NIL department, however that works, the debit card NIL department, and the teams that can keep some 1, 2, 3 main guys past their sophomore year, you're going to see more of this happening. 1 seed is going to mean 16 seed is going to mean 8 seed is going to mean 12 seed. It's all going to be jumbled up. I'm going to say, hey, man, just take the seeding off. I get it. It's still people going to see the 1 seed if you're at the very top and you're playing a Fairleigh Dickinson or something like that. But just take the seeding off at this point.
I will agree with you the seeding doesn't matter. But I also think that you're right in the continuity of things, and I think teams should be rewarded for that. If you're going to recruit NBA players, cool. Get your Brandon Miller. That's fine. You're going to have him for 1 year, and if you don't win, guess what? You might suck next year. I am fine and happy with the teams that you're going to recruit guys that are going to stay around, and you're going to have this core, and then if they play a couple of years and they can go to the NBA, great. And I think you should be rewarded for that. But that doesn't always happen. You get a couple one-and-dones. If you get 2 guys on your team that are going to be in the NBA draft in the top 10, you're probably going to win, right? That's just like how things work for the most part. So I am fine with the teams that, in quotes, if you will, do it the right way, because I'm not going to say one-and-done recruiting is the wrong way. It's just different. And if you get a one-and-done player like Brandon Miller, you probably get another one, right? It's not you're never going to get that type of player, except for the Anthony Edwards situation in Georgia. It feels like they ain't never getting another good player. But, I mean, I'm fine with the continuity, if the NIL, whatever it takes. I'm cool with teams being rewarded for doing it the right way, like a Florida Atlantic, like San Diego State, and even Miami to a degree. So I'm cool with that part of it. I'm fine with that. But I also think there's part of it that I don't really have. If UNF was in it, I'd be thrilled. It's my alma mater. But, like, outside of that, I don't really care who wins. I'd like my bracket to be good. But other than that, I'm just kind of along for the ride.
This is I would be interested in seeing a comparison of this happening in college football. First of all, this will never happen in college football. This will never happen in college football. There'll be a bit more parity, especially when they open up that playoff to 12.
Yes, you'll get – see?
But it won't be this, and I'm telling you right now, didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, Kasey.
No, you're fine.
But Alabama, Ohio State, UGA, tell you what, they're going to squash this. This will not be the same scenario in college football that we see in college basketball.
It won't be every time, but you will bound to get that happen. It will happen. It might not happen the first year against Kirby Smart in Georgia. It will eventually happen. The 12 will beat the 1. It will happen.
20 years from now.
Maybe.
20 years from now.
Maybe. But it will happen.
This is the norm in college basketball now, guys. So,
Are you mad about it? Like, I'm so confused.
I'm not mad about it. I'm just over here like this is the norm now. So, like,
and a lot of people are okay with that.
If you think that you got an inside track on the bracket, okay?
This all comes down to you're mad about the bracket.
Visit the trauma in your childhood. And if you don't have any trauma, you can't experience having a Final Four correct in the bracket moving forward in the NCAA
this is all
men's
about
basketball.
Your bracket. You're mad because of the bracket.
Well, no. Well, let's take it there. The brackets, trash. I get into what do you call it? These leagues with somebody who may not be co-hosting with me, who may be hosting them, and paying in, or not paying in, but paying in time and whatnot. And then I do my draft and I get a David Montgomery 2 seasons ago. Like, sports, should I be doing this? I look at the point total, and I'm like, Kasey, after the first weekend, it was like me and you, we were like last, second to last. And I was like, I wonder how many people ahead of me have a show 5 days a week.
None.
You know?
Zero.
Interesting.
Zero.
It's like I don't even watch.
But we had a chance because we had Gonzaga
No,
live.
man, don't start with me with this, man.
We did. We had more possible points than anybody else. We lost because Gonzaga lost by 40. The hell was that?
Somebody had to make it right with the bookie. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Before someone runs with that.
So, the last part of this is what I originally opened it up with, but I'll get a firm answer from you. If these games on Saturday were Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, Gonzaga, would you be making it appointment TV?
Yeah.
Or you would?
Yeah.
Solely because of the names?
Yeah, the programs and everything that's entailed with it, and those players that we're talking about going into the next league, going into the NBA, a lot of them are probably on those rosters. No knock on these kids right here. I don't know how many of them are going to be on the next level. And then on top of that, be stars, semi-stars.
Okay.
So, I'm going to watch these, but it's more like because I don't want to be like out of the loop sport-wise. You feel what I'm saying? It's more so like because I feel like I got to, as opposed to.
I think that's very interesting that you say that, because and again, it's just the difference of, opinion, but I think I'd be less interested to watch if I'm like, it's one of the teams that always wins. These games are not going to be appointment TV for me. I will catch it though. But like, I think I'd be more, or I think I am more intrigued to watch with these schools that are in it, because I literally have no clue what's going to happen. But that's been the appeal around the whole tournament for me. You have no idea. To your point, the seeding doesn't matter. And
go ahead and say it. The regular season doesn't matter. Go ahead and say it.
It did for Florida Atlantic, because Florida Atlantic wouldn't be here if they didn't play well in the regular season. It didn't matter for UConn, to your point.
Kasey, listen, you can feel that way, and I get why a lot of people feel that way. I like a Cinderella story as well.
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you're the number one Florida Atlantic hater that's ever been.
I used to love, especially when I first started playing on the little NCAA football before they took it away. I think they're bringing it back, but before they took it away, I used to love picking one of these trash schools or creating a little school, and it'd be like a 1-star and building it up. I love doing that. I love watching teams fight against the other squads and whatnot. When they finally break through, you're like, oh man, you did something. And I can say that for probably some of these programs right here. All I'm saying is we love dynasties, and we love people who are dominant in sports. All this talk about parity, whether it be teams or whether it be, we got a new MVP this year, we got a new leading scorer this year, man, dead all that. People love dynasties, dynastic stuff, okay? They love taking over and beating people and saying, we're the winners, okay? Now, you listen to what we got to say. You can take that into history, man. There's plenty of countries that did that to other countries. My point is this. You start talking about sports, what's one of the biggest arguments you're talking about? MJ LeBron? Okay. We ain't talking about, I'm trying to think of one of his, we ain't talking, well, I guess you could say Steve Kerr, John Paxson versus, what's the boy, Kirilenko or whatever, some dude from, some mid-level dude from, years ago, even though, my point is this, you start talking about these guys, these programs right here, like it's a nice story, but people like to see Titans clash when it's all said and done. That's what gets you the biggest bang for your buck, okay? That's why you got 18 John Wicks out here, because it's big time out here, and people come back and wanting to see more. I'm telling you right now, the ratings will not be nearly as high. It won't be low, won't be in the dumps, especially if like a FAU makes it, Kasey. But I just think we as a country, or people who enjoy this sport around the world, like to see the best go at it. Historically best go at it, because clearly these 4 teams right now aren't the best doing it.
TV and radio executive Brian Middleton would like to see the Titans clash. I don't know.
You see what they're driving?
I can't remember when Tom Brady was beating everybody. We were like, oh, good, more of this.
Well, but does Tom Brady hate? And that happened.
What about the Yankees?
Worldwide.
And then,
Yeah,
you might know more about this. The Yankees, late 90s, early 2000s, when they won 4 in a row.
And there's Yankees haters, but then
The
there's Yankees
Astros.
fans all over the world. The Astros are different. Okay, you might want to put them a little bit more with the Tom Brady thing with Deflategate, and there's an element of you're not on the up and up about everything. But even aside from that,
Golden State.
I'm telling you again, people
Kevin
love
Durant.
it even when they start to love to hate it. They still love it.
It's interesting. You're making me think. I don't know if you're right.
I'm right now.
You're making me think.
I'm right.
But you definitely sound like a TV executive. We want the best for ratings. Man, get out of here. Here's what I think it will be.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Florida Atlantic and UConn.
Nah, I mean, I did watch enough to know that, hey, that'll be a fun one. Good luck, FAU. You can do it. You got this far, but UConn.
I think UConn then blows them out. Here's what I think would be the worst for TV stuff would be Florida Atlantic, Miami, because you literally have the same part of the country caring about it. I would actually be fine with that. I don't think Miami can beat UConn, but I think that's because I'm in Florida. If we were doing this show in Nebraska, would we be like, Florida Atlantic, Miami, who cares? You know what I mean? This feels like it could be a regular season game. Just play it in Miami. Things are fine.
I don't know. You got Nebraska fans just in general, who they got to root for. You know what I'm saying? So,
apparently, Creighton's in Nebraska. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I feel like it was a trivia question a long time ago.
I didn't know till today. But I think it'll be Florida Atlantic, UConn, and then I think UConn wins big.
Oh,
that's my guess.
Either way, congrats to all the teams here. I'm sure I'll warm up to the idea by the time
This man just totally
rolls.
hated the idea for a half hour. And he's like, hey, congratulations to the teams.
I'm not mad at the teams.
I just wish you weren't in it.
If I was on the teams too, I'd be like, hey, man, you doggone right.
I ideally wish you guys would have lost somewhere along the way, is what Brian Middleton
The first weekend is cool. That's what you hear all the time. The first weekend is cool, but by the time we get to Sweet 16, come on now. Know your place, know your role.
Listen, shout out to you if you went to Florida Atlantic and you are watching your team.
Nice campus, though.
In the national championship.
You live kind of close down that way. I'm sure you went to Florida Atlantic for something.
Whole other side of the state. Everybody gets that wrong.
Well, I know, Kasey, but like you have a car and you drive.
I have been to Florida Atlantic 1 or 2 times, and that is because it is right next door or connected to where the Marlins and Cardinals do spring training. So I've never actually went to Florida Atlantic for a Florida Atlantic reason. I just was going to the stadium.
Got you.
Right there. My friend went to medical school at Florida Atlantic.
Look at you.
He doesn't. He
man.
don't even claim them because he went to USF for undergrad. Anyway, shout out to you if you went there and you're watching your team in the Final Four. That's a cool experience. If UNF ever did it, I would be leading the charge, as most of you Florida Atlantic fans are, as you should be. And also shout out to Miami if you're a Miami fan, because wasn't there a minute Miami wasn't even playing basketball? Didn't even have a program.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So, whole lot of cool stuff going on for those 2 programs. And then UConn, San Diego State, I would speak to your fan base, but I just assume most of you are not San Diego State or UConn fans since we are in Jacksonville, Florida. What we are is way over on a break, so we're going to do that. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690. We'll be right back.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mild overnight into partly cloudy skies, dropping into the 60s. Clouds will increase and thicken with scattered showers and storms for your Tuesday. Have an umbrella nearby with highs around 80. From the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Now get 0% interest for 5 years with nothing down.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine. I'm Ellie Anajar. Together, we're Anajar and Levine. If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. Main office, Jacksonville.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Hey, poker players! The Run Good Poker Series is making a stop at Best Bet Jacksonville from March 23rd to April 2nd. The Run Good Poker Series features 9 poker events, including a $1,200 no-limit hold'em main event with a $300,000 guaranteed prize pool, and event number 1, $400 no-limit hold'em with a $100,000 guarantee. Win your way in through satellites going on all month. Check out the tournament structures at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clearer skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690 on a Monday. A mundane Monday, according to the stream, if you're watching there. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can find it.
According to that A-Block, though. A-Block wasn't mundane.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Hatred for FAU.
I didn't know you hated him like that.
Hatred for FAU, Kasey.
I mean, you hate him. Like, you really hate him. Like, I didn't realize, man. Wouldn't have brought it up if I knew you hated him that much, but
You got emotional over it, man.
I mean, you did. Don't pin this towards me. I'm happy with the FAU situation.
Are you happy though?
You're the one
Didn't feel like you were happy. Felt like you were trying to.
Came up on the radio and said, "Nah, I hate him though. Like I can't stand to watch these boys play." And I was like, "That's a lot." I mean, that is a lot.
What's amazing is that you lie so cleanly when people can just hit like the back button.
The back button's not in your favor here. You hated him.
No, didn't hate him at all.
You hated him.
They call hate. I mean, they call truth hate, right? When it don't sit well with their goals and their alignment.
That is one of the real things you've ever said.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is, man, I was just being real with them. And life
that they're
needs
trash.
to be real.
It's like when you told the people, some of y'all been working at your job 30 years, still
I meant
trash.
That. Now, I meant every second of that.
And you right.
You can.
I know people that have been working in jobs for like 30 years and are trash at it.
Are they in the building?
I can't say.
Just joking. I'm just.
I ain't gonna give nobody information, but we all know that person. You be like,
oh boy,
there's somebody. Every time you run into your family, like a family reunion or something, you're like, you still work there?
Now he's going after family members.
You'd be looking at your cousin like, you are an idiot. How you been working there for 17 years?
Wow, ain't moved up yet, man.
Man, you still. I'm telling you, and that's pretty much what you said to FAU.
No, absolutely didn't.
More or less.
Give him truth. Give him a pep talk. Gave him a reason to have a chip on their shoulder even more, Kasey. When they get their ring, I'll send them my address to get mine too.
I'm going to get you a shirt.
Okay?
Wear
the Owls, right? Aren't they the Owls?
They're the Owls, yeah.
What's the last owl you've seen in South Florida? Are they prevalent down there? That's a real question.
I don't know.
Okay.
Other side of the state. There's owls in Bradenton, if that's what you're asking. I don't know if there's owls in Boca Raton.
Okay.
I'd imagine.
Here they're big. Yeah, they can be big.
They can be. Speaking of people that suck at their job, the Ravens front office apparently got a trade request from Lamar Jackson about 25 days ago. Ain't did nothing with it. And then as Harbaugh is talking at the owners' meetings, Lamar tweets out, I told them to trade me, and they ain't doing it. Love that move. Big fan of that. And then Harbaugh got uncomfortable, answered some questions, But this is like the most non-surprising thing of the offseason, that Lamar Jackson has asked for a trade from the organization that hasn't really done him any favors for 2-3 years. I think. Do you disagree? Seems like you might disagree a little bit.
This was good. This was good. This is what being able to have your own platform allows for you to do. Well-timed tweets and messages can help, shape a narrative in a way that you couldn't do 20 years ago. Lamar Jackson 20 years ago would have just been painted as the bad guy right now.
True.
And he would have to try to have a team leak stuff to a newspaper or to a television station. Twitter is I won't say it levels the playing field, but it definitely helps out from, I guess, a player's perspective and reaching his or her particular fans. So, yeah, I liked it, man. I didn't realize that Harbaugh was answering questions about it, though.
Yeah, so the tweet came out right when Harbaugh was talking. So it was definitely planned, and then they did ask him about it once they figured out the tweet existed. It's a baller move, I think, from Lamar's standpoint. What sucks for Lamar, and now granted, I don't really know what I should expect here. Like, I don't expect that if you say I want to be traded on the second, you get traded on the third. Like, that's not what I'm saying here. But what I am saying here is all the teams that went through free agency and signed quarterbacks now no longer need a quarterback. So, like, teams that were potentially could have been interested, like the Raiders, who signed Jimmy G. Carolina traded up for the number 1 overall pick. Could they have been interested? Who knows? But the point of the story is now you're looking around the league. Who needs a quarterback? Indianapolis is the only team that is, like, super thirsty for a quarterback, right? It feels like Atlanta is fine playing Desmond Ridder. Whether that be might be right or wrong, it feels like they're content to do it. Washington feels like they're content to play Sam Howell and or Jacoby Brissett.
Ain't that something?
Right? The Jets are interesting here because it feels like the Packers are not giving in on trade demands. So do the Jets need a quarterback? Maybe, not really, kind of. The Packers, you got to play Jordan Love. So there are situations, Tennessee, but nobody's really as thirsty as the Colts. So I think that's a disservice to Lamar.
Could you see a scenario where San Francisco figures something out? Just figure something out. They're just like, hey, Trey, listen, it's been real. It's been real. You hear me? Fresh perspective.
Oh, Trey Lance.
Yeah. What do you think I was talking about?
I cut you off, but are you assuming that they would trade for Lamar? Or just trade Trey? Because I'm on the Trey Lance.
I know. You need him to be great. No,
I do. But I think if they trade Trey Lance to the Ravens after Lamar's already been traded, yes. I don't think they will be getting Lamar in return because they have Brock Purdy.
I'm going to tell you what, man.
It'd be scary, I know.
I'm going to tell you what. John Lynch and those boys up there, I don't put nothing past them.
No, that's fair.
If Lamar Jackson's like, I want to be traded, how many phone calls? I'll tell you this much. 22 to 20, I don't know, 22 teams would be my guess of how many phone calls came in to the Ravens today. Not even just the whole offseason combined. Today. Just touching bases. Just talks that we'll never hear about until we get a 30 for 30 about the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I bet you. So I get it. There's a lot of QB positions that aren't open or, they've been filled to a certain degree. But if the Ravens are like, all right, we're going to get rid of them. I mean, we need like a king's ransom, but, who's interested? We will be surprised, I think, even by some of the people who at least kick the tires and try to hear what the Ravens would potentially trade him for.
Maybe. No, I don't think you're wrong.
No, you real? That's real. Yeah.
I think there will be those teams. I don't think San Francisco will be one of them. It's intriguing. Yeah. But again, if this happens before the Giants pay Daniel Jones, I mean, I'm calling. You can't call now. You got to hold Daniel Jones for a ton of money. Nobody's taking that on.
I'm about to say, because the Ravens we're not paying that.
Right, exactly. So, like, I think you're right in the sense of there will be – I bet it I don't think it's going to be the Colts. It seems too obvious. If they even trade him. I think it will be a team that you're like, really? That's odd. But I don't know who. Titans would fit that category.
Yeah.
Arizona would fit that category. But also, you got to remember, then you have to pay Lamar. So not only do we have to like you, we have to really, really love you without knowing you because we got to trade for you, then pay you. That's tough. Even in a world where Tinder is very popular, it is tough to find someone to love you like that.
Bro, I don't even know where. There's so many angles of that.
Yeah, I know.
We got to love you, then we got to pay you. And then you went to Tinder?
I'm just saying.
Holy smokes.
On Tinder, you know a little bit about somebody.
I don't know, Kasey. Do you?
I don't really, but my friends are on it.
Oh, okay.
And you know a little bit about somebody, and you kind of explore that.
Uh-huh.
Teams know a little bit about Lamar.
Walk me through it, okay.
Teams know a little bit about Lamar.
Okay.
But there's no Tinder in this. You either got to trade your whole future and pay him all your bank account, or you ain't getting them.
Where's the payment come in again? I think that's where
I'm lost on the, like, I don't know. Like, people on Tinder, right? Again, not there. I'm surprised you're not there. Like, I imagine if you're on Tinder, you're not there trying to get married. You probably have other ideas. Okay? And in this scenario,
oh boy,
another team would have to get married to Lamar.
Oh boy.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right or
wrong. And then pay money like you do on Tinder.
Well, to get married, it costs money.
After you get that kind of love. Hey, you know what, Kasey? I got to be real with you, man.
I like what you're doing here.
I don't know where you're going, man, but that was good.
We should move on. You're right. This or that. Let's do it.
Just pull that raw straight, just like that. Just post it.
Yeah,
that was great.
I don't know about all that.
Which friends? Jenkins?
Jenkins on there.
I can see that. Jenkins probably.
Yeah, Jenkins on there.
He probably dangerous on Tinder.
He ain't dangerous. He's the opposite dangerous. He's not dangerous.
Okay. This or that, Kasey.
Let's do it.
No rules, right?
No
embarrassment of riches. Christian Kirk or Calvin Ridley? Start off with a light one.
Embarrassment. I'll go Christian Kirk since he's played football most recently. I think Calvin Ridley is going to obviously do some special things for you, but it makes players like Christian Kirk that much better after coming off a career year. So I will go Christian Kirk.
All right. Next up, Kasey, better contract. Ken Griffey Jr.'s contract with the Reds pays him $57.5 million deferred from 2009 to 2024. That's a little over $3.6 million a year. Or Bobby Bonilla's, that he deferred $5.9 million. You know this already in 2000, and he gets paid $1.2 million from 2011 to 2035, plus an 8% interest figured into that calculation.
Yeah. So I didn't even know about the Ken Griffey Jr. one, which is fascinating. I think it just kind of came to light recently because the Reds suck and he's like their third highest paid player.
Exactly.
So shout out to him. I got to go Bobby Bonilla here because I do not know Bobby Bonilla. I've had very limited interaction with him, but I used to work at an airport in Sarasota where Bobby Bonilla had a plane at.
It's like I never met you.
He became a pilot.
So
if my man has the money to buy a plane and then figure out how to fly it and is still going to get another $1 million every year for the next 12, I feel like that's the elite one. Now, I might answer this differently in a couple of years when I think more about the Ken Griffey Jr. one, but Bobby Bonilla, I think, is the contract GOAT. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, man. The 8% like cost of living increase, too, is amazing.
It is.
And I was like, that was well thought out.
It's a great negotiation if you can get it.
Better sequel, Creed 3 or John Wick 4? Both movies I've seen.
Creed 3 or John Wick 4. I've seen neither. So I'm going to have to rely on you to make this pick.
Can't do it.
You're not going to make the pick?
I mean,
I was like, I quite literally have never seen either.
I'll co-sign or, not co-sign. You got to take have you seen any in either series? Have you seen a John Wick film or a Creed film?
I think I've seen, I don't think I have. I don't think I've seen either of either. I got nothing for you.
Well, ice that, and maybe we'll come back to that in a week or 5. Next
I don't think I'm going to see any of them within the next 5 weeks. How about this? Here's my answer.
Okay.
Creed 3, because I specifically said to Amanda, I would like to see this movie, but I wonder if I need any background knowledge.
No.
For it to make sense.
No. You wouldn't.
So then I will see it because I do want to see it. It looks good.
Final one, Kasey. Still a free agent, Ezekiel Elliott or Odell Beckham Jr.?
Oh, OBJ. 100%.
Okay.
100%. OBJ is going to help a team win, whether that be the Jets or somebody. Zeke, his best days are behind him. No offense, but that's just the case. And, wow. OBJ is still a 1,000-yard receiver, I think, in the right situation. We'll see what that is. We got to hit a break, huh?
Yeah.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690. We wrap up the show after this.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinsky. The physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Prime Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 904-664-8214. 904-664-8214. That's 904-664-8214.
Hey girl, I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. My shoulder pain has been terrible lately.
Sounds like you need to call Integrity Spine and Orthopedics in Jacksonville. Their brand new facility is incredible. It feels like you're at a spa. Best of all, their top-rated doctors really listen to you and create your own personalized plan.
Nice. I'm calling Integrity right now.
Integrity, where you matter most. Schedule your appointment today at integritymattersmost.com.
Are you ready for a great deal? Do you have your heart set on a new Toyota? Then go to the Ready, Set, Go sales event happening now at Arlington Toyota. Of course, at Arlington, you get Ready, Set, Go deals and more, like 30 days to love your new purchase or exchange it. Plus, every new Toyota comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. But you better shop now before Ready, Set, Go is gone. Don't wait. Shop in person and online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
We've been in Jacksonville now for 15 years, and as you know and I know, we have to be ready for those hot, hot days. And this time of year, the cooler temperatures, too. Need that AC working and then be ready to turn on the heat for a day or two. Bold City Heating and Air has us ready. They have for years. Can't say enough about their customer service. The communication, they are prompt, they are clean, they are good. Bold City Heating and Air, and right now, take advantage of their 0% financing on all purchases and just $97 for a tune-up. Be ready for the chilly weather and the heat. Bold City Heating and Air, boldcityac.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. Couple seconds to go. Literally seconds. It's all right on a Monday. No gate fees coming up next with Brent Martineau. That's why we got to get out on time. I'll tell you what I'm doing after that, Brian Middleton. I'm watching soccer. Wearing the USA shirt and everything. Mike's not on if you wanted that soundbite on the air. Okay. Playing El Salvador. They need to win. Down in Orlando.
Oh, this is the Champions thing that you were telling me about.
Nations League. Well done.
Yeah.
Way to listen. Do you think they'll win?
Yeah, sure.
Sounds good.
El Salvador? Sure.
That's what I'm doing after this. For Brian Middleton, I'm Kasey Kurtz. Have a great night. We'll do it again tomorrow. I want to eat a spicy chicken in my Tesla. Is it too much to ask?